Arizona spring training baseball tonight. The Royals and the Rangers from this gorgeous facility. St. Patrick's Day style today. We'll see a lot of green out of the stands today, and of course, on the beautiful fields down here in the desert. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Dave Raymond alongside my roomie, CJ Nikowski, and we're really excited. Emily Jones is here with us tonight and the rest of the way this spring. Look, we're at that point of spring training where a lot has been decided. Left field, it appears, is going to be a platoon, and we'll see both those guys in there tonight.
Yeah, this will be interesting and really some good options for Jeff Bannister when you look at Ryan Rua and Drew Robinson. Of course, you have the lefty and the righty. Willie Calhoun was in the conversation, but he has since been sent down to AAA. You will see him again, I'm sure, at some point this season. The Rangers certainly like the bat. They'd like to see maybe a little bit work done on the defensive side, but so it looks like it will be Robinson and Rua. And you mentioned that platoon, and anytime you have that lefty-righty platoon, it really is a nice advantage to be able to have and putting guys in the best possible spots to succeed. Of course, we saw Drew Robinson a year ago make his big league debut. Didn't get a ton of playing time, but he took advantage of it when he had it. We see that first at-bat that he had there in Yankee Stadium, that first big league home run, certainly a nice moment for him. So these guys have had nice springs so far, a couple of home runs out of each of them. That is certainly a good sign, and two guys that you feel very good about holding down left field.
And perfect tonight because Robinson's in center field and Rua is going to play first, but they're going to be the left fielders this year. Ryan Rua in there. We'll see his bat doing some work tonight as well. Stay with us. Starting lineups coming up. We're just about ready for baseball tonight. Final time this spring between the Royals and the Rangers from beautiful Surprise Stadium. Dave Raymond, CJ Nikowski, and excited to welcome in the third member of our crew for the first time this year. There's Emily Jones.
Hey guys, happy to be with you. It should be a very interesting 2018 season. It's been an interesting spring training thus far. So many questions to be answered by this Rangers team after a disappointing 2017. And then of course the big headlines made by the AL West, the other members of the AL West. A lot of people outside of this organization not expecting too much. Talking to Jeff Bannister today, he said that's the way this team likes it. They play better as the hunter rather than the hunted. They want to play in the shadows, live in those shadows. That causes them to play with that edge that he likes, that he's seen from this team. And so hopefully he's going to use that as some motivation and try to hone it in a positive way for this team. The fact that the expectations outside of this organization aren't there, but he does remind me very, very quickly that the expectations within the organization have always been there and they will never go away.
Yep, and I think that's fair, and that, of course, is the way it should be, right? I mean, you should always have high expectations internally, and I like the idea, and you could see certainly with the skipper that he would use the lower expectations outside the organization definitely as motivation.
No doubt. There's something to be said for when national writers and analysts are saying you're not going to make it, you're not good enough, your roster's not good enough. And not that you need extra motivation to be a good big leaguer, but that definitely pushes guys, no doubt about it. When you have the uniform on and you feel like people are betting against you, it fires you up a little bit. And listen, there's a good enough roster here with the Rangers that'll be heading to Arlington when the season starts that absolutely can find a way to contend in what will be a pretty tough division in the American League West.
Yeah, that I think we can agree on. It will be a tough division. You know, the Astros are going to be very good as Yoander Mendez makes his second official start of the spring, and he gets us started with strike one to Whit Merrifield. Mendez, a big lefty, fires, and this one is lashed down into that right field corner. So Merrifield on the run. He might think about more than just two here. In fact, he'll head for three, and he'll get there without a throw. A leadoff triple for Whit Merrifield.
Well, Merrifield saw a first pitch fastball away for a strike, and then they tried to go in here, and that pitch ended up being away just like the first one was. And what a great approach as he takes this ball the other way. Good right-handed hitters understand when you're going up against left-handed pitching, you will see a lot of pitches middle away. You get yourself in trouble if you try to pull those. He stayed with it and drove it well, and Mendez certainly not where he wanted to throw that ball as he tried to get it in on the hands of Merrifield.
Merrifield having a real nice spring, was hitting .444 coming in. A couple of homers, 3 doubles, and now his 4th triple. So Alcides Escobar waves and misses at strike one.
Merrifield really was a good story for the Kansas City Royals, a guy that they had on their roster for 3 straight years, but he never saw the big leagues. And he was taken off the 40-man roster. Any team could have taken him, but he cleared waivers and he ended up back with the Royals, so never really left the organization. He got a chance in the big leagues, did very well.
Escobar lifts this one into shallow right field. May not be enough. Indeed, it will not be enough. Lazaro, what a peg to the plate, and Merrifield wisely staying put.
Well, there's pretty much no opportunity here for Merrifield to go, but a perfect job by Nomar Mazar to get behind this ball and go ahead and show the wing off a little bit as he throws an absolute seed to Juan Centeno behind home plate.
Maz, that's one of his real strengths out there, the great arm. He got himself in perfect position, so nicely done. Keeps the runner at third, 1 out, and here is Michael Saunders, left-handed hitter. And the infield plays up on the grass with Merrifield down there at third base. Saunders getting the start in left. One of 3 left-handed hitters in the lineup today for Kansas City. And it is 1-1. There you see it. And you see Merrifield's numbers up top. Saunders having a nice spring as well.
Jeff Panister decided to have the infield back when there was the runner at third and nobody out, but now you got the lefty-lefty matchup and 1 out. It's a good opportunity to take advantage potentially of some weak contact and cut that run off at home.
Foul ball scatters a bunch of birds off the top of the screen behind home plate. You heard the oohs and ahs from the fans, and they were seeing the birds taking off.
What was amazing about that is there was 4 birds kind of clustered together. The ball went right at them. One of them didn't move. The other 3 were gone. There's one still standing exactly there, and now he will be the guy that will be the toughest of the group. The street cred just went way up.
Yeah. Don't mess with that bird. Mendez just missed on that one. 2-2 the count. Yoander mentioned this is now his 5th appearance for the Rangers. Second start. He has no walks, 8 strikeouts so far this spring, and 9 innings pitched. Nibbling after that corner. That one a little further off.
Well, it's important, I think, for Mendez to have a good spring. Probably not a spot for him to break camp with the team, but making sure he's leaving the Rangers with a good impression, taking advantage of a night like tonight where he's got to start. When you think about the depth, of course, you don't just use 5 starters. Hopefully you don't have to use too many more than that, but you do go through a few, and he certainly would like to leave a good impression here for Jeff Bannister and John Daniels to know that he could be a guy if they need some help in the rotation.
There's the first walk he has allowed this spring as he put Saunders on at first, and now will contend with Cheslor Cuthbert. Mendez, 6'5", 200 pounds. He's only 23 years old. This is his third spring training with the big club. And he's had September call-ups each of the last 2 years. Starter in the minor leagues. He has appeared only in relief in the big leagues. I think it's Cuthbert to go after strike one.
24 starts for him last year. Had a nice year in Double-A, 3.79 ERA. Did a good job, 137 innings. Pitch for him, 124 strikeouts. The walk rate was fantastic at 2.8 walks per 9. That's a great rate. Anything under 3 you'll take all day long from your starters.
Well, he evens things up on Cuthbert here at 1-1. 278 average for Cuthbert, a home run, a couple driven in. This ball hit well down the left field line, and that one up against the fence. Plenty to get Merrifield home. Saunders will make it to third. Cuthbert with the RBI double in Kansas City gets the first run tonight.
Get a look at this. Cuthbert did a really nice job of going down and getting this. Looked like might have been a changeup, and you see it cut back a little bit over the plate. But look at that swing. That's a nice job. Good balance there on an off-speed pitch. Not getting it too far out front, but he had to go down and get it. Not only did he get it, but he squared it up pretty well. Just missed that home run by a few feet.
So now 2 runners in scoring position. Cody Ashe fouls off the first offering he sees. Left-handed batter again, and it's a guy tonight getting the start at third base. He played a little bit of third base in the Phillies organization. Phillies had drafted him in the 4th round, 2011, and had trouble really finding a place for him on the field. They like his bat, or liked his bat. Royals like his bat as well, but they'll need to figure out where they're going to use him. Two and one.
Probably right now for Ashe, looked as a depth piece. I don't know if he's going to break camp with the team. Probably on the fence a little bit. It'll be close for him, and maybe down to the wire. Certainly the re-signing of Mike Moustakas closed up a third base spot pretty quick in Kansas City. It's kind of interesting too, right? It's been such a strange offseason, right? So many guys that have signed late. Still some really good big league players that are out there as free agents. And if you're sitting in camp, and say you're Cody Ashe, right? You're thinking, I might have a chance to make this team. And you're thinking, Mike Moustakas, please go sign somewhere else. You know, sometimes you forget about the different effects that what has happened here in the offseason, how it affects players that are currently in camp, other guys that are hoping to earn spots on opening day rosters.
Well, he takes a third strike that time. First punch out tonight for Yoander Mendez.
And this is a good one in a good spot right here. See a little slider, finishes right over the plate. That's kind of what Mendez was hoping he was going to be able to do with Saunders, who he eventually ended up walking after he'd gotten ahead.
Now he looks at Nick Prado, their designated hitter. And Prado takes a strike. This is a guy that was their first round pick last year in the draft, 14th overall. Great young player out of Southern California, grew up in Huntington Beach, California. And it's 0-2. So a real neat opportunity for a young man to get some big league experience at spring training, but his time will come. It won't be this year, but
pretty amazing, right? You think about that. Less than a year ago, he was in high school.
Yeah.
Here he is playing in a big league spring training game.
Stays alive, 0-2.
It's always about exposure for your high round draft picks, for your high prospects. Get them into camp. Let them experience some big league pitching and being around other big leaguers, right? That's also the advantage, not just what you do on the field, but watching how guys handle themselves in the clubhouse, during workouts, talking to the coaching staff and the way they teach things, and probably want to get a couple of things in his ear before the season starts. Certainly a guy that's a couple of years away.
And he strikes out to end the inning. So Mendez avoids trouble with a couple of strikeouts to get himself out of the jam. Royals score first. Rangers coming to bat. This evening here in Surprise, Arizona. Rangers lineup tonight. Split squad day today, so not exactly an opening day looking lineup, except for the fact Delano DeShields will be leading things off, having a great camp again. Drew Robinson behind him, then Profar, Mazzaro, Rua in the middle. Centeno, Barney, Scott Heineman getting a start today, batting eighth, and Hanser Alberto in there today, rounding out the lineup and playing a little third base. DeShields takes a strike from Jacob Junis, a young starting pitcher for the Royals.
And a guy that they probably anticipate being in their rotation this year. Junis last year got a little bit of time. 20 games pitched, 16 starts for the Kansas City Royals. He did pretty well for a rookie, 24 years old last year. 4.30 ERA. Not a huge strikeout guy, but does a good job filling up the strike zone. Did last year, and he'll slide in there probably in the 4th spot, maybe the 5th spot in a rotation. That'll include Danny Duffy, Ian Kennedy, Jason Hamill, Junis, and then most likely Nate Carnes.
9 wins last year for Junis as a rookie, and he strikes out DeShields to start things tonight.
The breaking ball looked really good in this at bat from Junis, and you see him here trying to expand the zone on Delano DeShields, and he does, and gets Delano to chase that pitch out of the zone. It's funny, we were talking to Ryan Lefebvre before the game, and he said that early in his career, when he was in the minor league, someone threw a Corey Kluber comp on him, which is pretty high praise.
That's pretty tough to live up to that, as Robinson rolls one up the middle for a base hit.
But as soon as I saw him stand on the mound, the first thought I had, maybe it's the beard. It's Jake Arrieta.
Yep.
Maybe it might be a little. Jake Arrieta is a pretty big dude. I don't know height-wise if they're about the same. You see a nice job here by Drew Robinson. Didn't hit it hard, but ground ball right back up the middle. You see where the defense has him played, and I think that base hit.
Robinson aboard, and he'll get the attention of Junis. Junis 6'2", 225. So let's see what.
Yeah, I think Arrieta is probably right around there. Would you say?
Oh.
No, 6'4" Arrieta. Wow. 225.
6'4", 225 is a little.
It's fine. Yeah. Actually, a couple inches shorter. Of course, Jake Arrieta now headed to the Philadelphia Phillies. That one took a while. It was getting close to the point whether he was going to be able to have enough time to get ready, get in camp with the team and be ready for opening day, but sounds like he will be.
Profar takes one off the plate. Jurickson in at 297 today, and he has had a nice spring, has certainly impressed Jeff Bannister. He's talked about Profar quite a bit this last week or so down here, and The great energy and job that he has done this spring. And what was it? He had the line the other day, Banny. I think he said, I might get this really close, but not quite on. But I anticipate him playing a very big role on this team this year. That, to me, says he's going to be on that opening day squad.
Well, I think without a doubt he's going to be on the opening day roster. I mean, he's out of options. Obviously, that comes into play. And more importantly, I think this would mean, a lot of people speculating would there have been a potential trade for Jurickson Profar because he is out of options. You can't send him to the minor leagues. You'd have to expose him to waivers, and of course, he would never clear waivers. I think the thing that we forget, and it's kind of easy, is how young he still is. Of course, he was talked about so much and getting to the big leagues so early and being the consensus #1 overall prospect in baseball all the way back in 2013, but he made his debut at 19. He's still only 25 years old. He hasn't even really hit what we look at as those prime years for big leaguers. Right? And you see him having a good spring. The talent is absolutely there, and you could see it happening. Now, where the regular at-bats will come from this year, to be determined, right? I mean, that's the hard part, I guess, is to envision where he would be getting those regular at-bats. But you know how it goes. Somebody goes down or somebody has to fill in or whatever it may be, or maybe he's giving different infielders some days off and you can find a way to get him a couple of starts a week. And it's difficult to put up numbers in those spots, but I certainly think he's capable, and I see it. And I understand exactly what Jeff Bannister is saying, and it can be a really important role. And there is still plenty of time for him to have a big-time, big league career as he is just 25 years old.
1-2 the count here. Man at first. Robinson takes his lead. Another foul ball. Well, you look at the makeup of this team, and a lot of talk about having a 3-man bench to start the year, going with 13 pitchers. May or may not end up being the case, but let's say it is. Then a guy with the versatility of Profar becomes quite important. We saw him play a lot of outfield last year. We know you can play the left side of the infield, which is critical. Play the right side of the infield as well if needed. Turns this one down the first baseline. Good stop down there. The throw down to second for one and back in time for first. Cuthbert with a really nifty job to turn that 3-6-3 double play. So the Rangers nothing doing it there. Having the first. Royals with the lead as we go to inning number 2. Stadium. Hey, it's St. Patrick's Day as well, and in honor of the holiday, the Rangers are offering you one lucky deal for today only. You can purchase 2 Upper Reserve tickets for just $17. That's 2 tickets for the price of 1. Get your tickets for select games in April using the online coupon code LUCKY at TexasRangers.com. Bring your green hat. We're going streaking. Low pitch. Off the plate, ball 2. So Mendez back to work here in the second inning. It's the bottom third of the order. Butera, Escalera, and Billy Burns for Kansas City. Boy, that one hit high in the air down that left field line, heading well foul. Long run down there, and no room.
Well, it was a really long run for Jerks and Profar. And one thing about it, you start going full speed and you know that wall's coming. It looks like it might be close. That's one of the toughest things for these infielders when they're making these plays is knowing at some point. I mean, you see how far he has to go and how much distance he is traveling and going full speed. He's the only one that probably has a chance at it. You want to start breaking it down a little bit early. Those low walls that are so common both at spring training and in big league stadiums. You don't want to go into those full speed. Profar catching his breath.
3-1 to Butera. Bouncer right to Profar this time and makes for a routine play, one away.
That's good to see right there, and that's something I think you want to see out of Mendez, even when he gets behind in the count. One of the lefties' advantages is the ability to run the ball away from right-handed hitters. Right, there are so many right-handed hitters, and you see, Santana's kind of just set middle, but see how that ball ends up finishing the outside part of the plate. You get in that 3-1 count, hitters count. You want a right-handed hitter to start to get a little bit big. If you can keep that fastball middle away and have guys hitting the top half, hitting those ground balls, that's certainly a good sign. Think about Tom Glavine made a living doing that and got himself to the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Doing that as a lefty, not overpowering you with fastballs, spotting that fastball and changeup down and away to righties.
Well, he's jumped ahead of Alfredo Escalera here, 0-2. Escalera was a late add to the lineup. I say late add. I mean, spring training can be a fluid situation, but a little lineup change from what we were anticipating earlier today, and he swings and misses. That's a quick 3-strike strikeout for Yoander, his 3rd strikeout tonight.
Good fastball here, well located down and away. You talk about hitting the glove. I mean, that is as perfect gets. On an 0-2 count, that is paint. Well done right there by Mendez. You're right, though, yeah. Tyler Collins was originally in the lineup, got taken out. Neck stiffness, maybe a spring training pillow situation. That happens once in a while.
Oh, I've seen it, yeah. Yep. Billy Burns, a switch hitter, playing center field tonight, batting 9th. And the 1-0, swings and misses. I saw, who was it? Chris Sampson, a brief career in the big leagues, right-handed pitcher. A proud papa, his first baby boy in spring training. The kid was maybe a couple months old as Burns takes in. And so I guess the baby was having a little trouble sleeping. And Chris decided that he would help him and sleep with him on the couch and stuff. Woke up the next morning, and I mean, he couldn't look left for like 3 days. And he was scheduled to start that day, and of course could not. Swing and a miss makes it 1-2 on Billy Burns.
You can appreciate him trying to be a good father, but yeah, that's kids sleeping with children usually never ends.
It doesn't work.
No.
Mendez to the plate. Burns just does get his bat on that one and turns it up into the seats.
You get a little older. You want to, oh, can I sleep in your room tonight, or sneak in the middle of the night? Try to be a good dad and sleeping sideways and you're getting kicked in the face. It's the worst.
How do they get sideways so quickly all
amazing.
the time?
Yeah, it really is amazing.
Mendez finds the outside corner. Strike 3 called. 4 strikeouts to the first 2 innings for the big left-hander. Played an inning and a half in surprise. Mendez looking sharp early on for the Rangers. lead. And this year, by the way, you can get more baseball for your buck with a full or half season ticket pan. Lock in the best prices and the best sitting locations and enjoy all those exclusive perks that come with season tickets. Season ticket holders for 2018 may also select their seats this summer for the new Globe Life Field, which will open in 2020. Just go to TexasRangers.com/seasons today. Well, the Rangers went quietly in the first inning, and now their second look at Jacob Junis. Nomar Mazara leading things off here. Mazara batting in the cleanup spot today, followed by Ryan Rua and Juan Centeno. And he takes a strike, 1-1. Pretty good spring for Maz so far, 306 average. Gets this ball hard down the first baseline, and that one caroms away from Cuthbert. Well, that was blistered. Mazara with a single to start the second.
That ball was smoked, and we see Cuthbert, as a first baseman, has not spent a lot of time over there. Just 7 games in his big league career, 2 of them starts, but this pitch came back over the plate a little bit more than Junis wanted, and that is always dangerous. You throw that backdoor breaking pitch to a good left-handed hitter, and it's the danger zone. It looked like that ball might have caught the bag maybe a little bit, and then his foot and his ankle, and kicked it in foul territory, and Nomor's got himself a base hit.
So Mazara on, and it'll bring up Ryan Rua. Well, there's an example of what looks in the scorebook like just a routine single, but this was addressed earlier today. Jeff Bannister talking about the way his offense is played, and he pointed out, he said, man, you look at the exit velocities, go a little beyond just the simple results. He's been very happy with the approach and the contact guys have been making this spring. Rua flashes this one on the ground. A one hopper, could be 2. Merrifield to Escobar. One on to first, and it is a double play. Second of the game for Kansas City.
Well turned, and this was a good pitch by Junis to get it off the end of the bat from. See it here from Junis with Ryan Rua. Right off the end of the bat, the ball was kind of tailing away a little bit. It looks like it's hard to tell sometimes the difference between the cutter and the slider. It's funny that they use the Kluber comp when you talk about the breaking ball, because Corey Kluber is one of the few pitchers, righties, that you say throws literally only say breaking ball, because he'll make it look like a curveball and he throws it slower. When it's harder, it looks like a slider. And so it kind of does both, and I think we see some of that here with the slider/cutter from Junis.
Well, the very next pitch, Centeno bounces it right to Merrifield again, and that is a very quick second inning for Junis, who's pitching this one in a rocking chair. Royals leading 1-0. Third inning tonight. Wander Mendez is throwing well the first 2 innings. But Jacob Junis for Kansas City has looked very good. Take a look at Jeff Bannister. Always something fun going on down there. Look at the career winning percentage among active managers right now. And there is Jeff Bannister, just a tick behind Joe Madden and Mike Scioscia.
Well, certainly something worth noting, and Jeff Bannister has done an excellent job here since he's been with the Rangers, has had some good rosters to work with, and certainly have been in some battles these 3 years, and that is something to hang your hat on and something to be proud of. And winning in this game is what matters more than anything, regardless of the roster that you get. He's done a very nice job here, and something the Rangers want to continue to build on, staying in that top 5 and continue to go on a run. And this is some of the value that you really see from Jeff Bannister, the relationships, the young players, the communication. He does an excellent job.
Slow bouncer, shortstop by Merrifield, but Profar able to hustle it over in time, one away.
That's a big deal when either you're a guy that is not breaking camp with the team, or maybe you come over from minor league camp. Right? How many times over the course, especially a day like today, when you have a split squad, and you have some guys that will come over from the minor league side, and it's a big deal. And if your manager even takes a minute or two to talk to you or say hi, whatever it may be, you can leave a real lasting impression on guys in nights like this in spring training. That whole deal of being young and being seen but not heard, I think we're kind of getting past that a little bit. And I think managers kind of understand that a little bit more, this generation of managers. Now, those little conversations, even if it's joking around about something that happened or whatever it may be, you absolutely can impress a young player and make him feel comfortable sitting here, coming over, especially when you come over from minor league camp around a bunch of big leaguers.
Escobar serves one into center field, his first hit of the night. Royals have a base runner in this 3rd inning.
Left fielder, Michael Saunders.
That brings up Saunders. Escobar, he's had a tough spring so far, so for him a little sigh of relief to get on base. And here is Saunders now, who walked in the 1st inning. He's done a real nice job. 4 walks against 5 strikeouts, a .310 average. Mendez starts him with strike 1. That's the final time these two teams will face each other during spring training. They share the same facility. See a lot of these guys every day. But a doubleheader today. Day-night doubleheader. Yeah, right down that left field line, the Kansas City side. And the Rangers facilities on the opposite. You've got to keep them separated. But all the executive offices, all the workout facilities.
So I was thinking about this in this situation because somebody had said to me the other day, they said it seems like more and more teams share spring training complexes, and that certainly has been a trend that we've seen in the game. And then I was thinking about it. It's one thing, you play the same team, more than you probably would in spring training, and that can get a little dull at times. But at least you're not in the same division. Can you imagine? And I'm trying to think. I put zero research into this, so
good. These are my favorites.
Yeah, so this is off the top of my head. But are there any teams? The Diamondbacks are with the Rockies, right?
Yeah.
So that's you're playing each other a bunch in spring training, then 19 times during the year. That's probably the one thing I'd look to maybe avoid.
Slow roller, second base, and the Rangers will take just the 1. That one not hit hard enough, but Escobar erased from the bases. Saunders, by virtue of hitting that ball weakly, survives, and there are 2 away.
First baseman, 19, just like number.
So since we went no research, can you think of anybody? Let's take a look at this here. Now this ball was hit too slow, unfortunately. Caught off the end of the bat. Good play, and Jurickson Profar not even going to take that chance, and I think he probably made the right decision.
No, I can't think. I can't think of anyone. In fact, I'm pretty tickled you came up with the Diamondbacks and Rockies, because that is a good one.
Glad to tickle you.
Well, it's St. Patrick's Day. 1-0 Kansas City, and Cuthbert drove in that 1 run with a double in the 1st inning. He's in a hole here, though. 0-2.
Mendez has done a really nice job bouncing back. We saw some hard contact, the leadoff triple, and then the double by Cuthbert. But ever since that double, he was really settled down and throwing the ball well. It's had excellent command in the outside part of the zone. off-speed pitches even looking a little bit sharper than they did those first couple of hitters.
I pop-up foul out of play. He's retired 7 of the 8 batters since that Cuthbert double, including 4 strikeouts. So, yeah, he has definitely found it a little bit. And this is a guy, look, there's some high hopes pinned on Yoander Mendez, one of the top pitching prospects in the organization. Chopper left side, easy hop for Profar. Will go the short way to take care of Saunders, and the inning is done. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. Rangers trailing by 1.
The Rangers by a score of 1-0. A fan's choice 20-game plan is the most flexible way to enjoy the 2018 Rangers season. Choose the 20 games that work best for your schedule, including opening day. Can't make it to one of the games? No problem. Your 20-game plan includes a flexible exchange policy. For all the details and benefits, make sure you visit texasrangers.com/20-game plans.
Well done.
Yes, sir.
Well, bottom of the 3rd inning. Rangers trying to get something started offensively, and a broken bat roller to second is not going to be that something. Darwin Barney retired. 1 away.
Good job by both pitchers here so far, keeping the ball on the ground. I think we've only had 1 pop-up, none from against Junis, and I think just the one. It was Escobar who flew out back in the 1st inning against Mendez. So again, something that you want to see with these guys. Just swings and misses are great, and strikeouts are fantastic. But keeping the ball on the ground, out of the air, both of these guys have done an excellent job up to this point.
And Jonas, we mentioned last year what a great rookie season he turned in for the Royals, with 9 victories in his big league debut. He went 8 straight starts without a loss, which is the 2nd longest goes down on strike. 2nd strikeout tonight for Junis.
Yeah, and we see the good use of the breaking ball, and here's another one. Good depth to it. You see Heineman way out front. But you're right, it's funny. I was just thinking about that yesterday as we talked about this. You know, the win-loss record, it still matters to pitchers to some degree. But what are you doing? What is your team doing when you're starting games? And you can't control the offense, and you still can't control wins, and you can pitch well, and your team record would still be bad. But I think it matters for guys that have had struggles, maybe with some run support, or the bullpen isn't getting the job done, and so you're losing some games that way, or you're not getting wins personally, whatever it may be. So that overall team record, I think, is certainly something that is worth looking at and paying attention to it. I think it matters to the team, the coaching staff as well.
Hanser Alberto sends that one into the seats. 1-2 the count on Hanser. 300 average so far this spring. He swings and misses, and Jonas with back-to-back strikeouts to author a 1-2-3 third inning. Off to the fourth we go. 1-0 Kansas City. Here down in the desert, Royals lead the Rangers 1-0 as we get started here in the fourth inning. Welcome into the booth. This is it. These are our digs. Dave Riemann, CJ
Really
Nitkowski, and Kendra Pettis joining us today as well. Kendra, thank you so much for taking a little time with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Sports and Tourism Director here in Surprise.
Yes.
And you've done a fine job, by the way.
Why, thank you.
A nice crowd. And you got a little recognition from the USA Today. This ballpark, this facility did quite well.
We did. We were ranked #1 facility in Arizona.
Yeah, not bad.
Not too bad. We'll take it.
Not bad, yeah.
A little bit of competition here for spring training complexes, obviously, in Arizona. And just across the board, they have all improved over the years. I was actually a player here the first year this opened up, all the way back in, 2003. That was, and it was a big deal then, but now it just seems like, a lot of other ballparks popping up, but yet still Surprise Stadium crushing it amongst the group.
Yeah, we really feel that Surprise Stadium kind of embodies that essence and tradition of spring training, how you should really watch a spring training game, and then we add a little of the fun fan experience.
Now, what goes into that? Because I think that part is interesting, because obviously big league stadiums as well getting built consistently. We see a lot of that. When you think about when you're starting to put a ballpark together or talk about those kinds of things, your emphasis in that regard is what?
Is the fan experience. So we want to make sure from the moment they get into the park until the end of the 9th inning that they are enjoying themselves, and it's really about them.
One out here is Jesse Chavez has come on to throw here in the 4th inning. Well, part of that is very affordable prices, right? There's no parking charge around here.
Right.
It's like, what, $8 or something to get in?
Yep, we start at $8 for our lawn tickets, and then we have free parking. So one of the only facilities in the Cactus League that does that.
Yeah, which is notable because we go, listen, we go to these other ballparks, and, you could pay just as much as you would for a ticket just to park your car.
Right, and we want to make sure that, it's affordable for everyone, and we have a lot of different deals going on. We have family packs available, 4 tickets, 4 Cokes, 4 popcorns for only $44. That's one of the promotions going on tonight. We have our Legends deck, which is only $30 for a ticket, a meal, and a drink in the tent. So we really try to make it, affordable and accessible to everyone.
What have been maybe the more popular places to take in a game at this stadium? Or are there favorites among fans? Is it different? What's the best spot?
It depends on the preference. Obviously, behind the dugout is one of the favorites, and then my favorites are actually upstairs. So I think those are kind of a cool. And then our Legends deck, and then if you just want to hang out in the sun and enjoy the game, the lawn's always a fan favorite too.
So that's actually incorrect. The correct answer is the broadcast.
Yeah,
because you're sitting in it
there
right now.
Wrong.
That's right.
We're kidding, of course.
Spring training for everybody, so we're just warming you up. But my family was here this week, and it was the first time that I've had the opportunity to bring the kids out to spring training. And I think the other thing that we should mention is the morning, right? I brought the kids out at like 9 o'clock. I don't want to let you know that I was cheating by half an hour, but they come out at 9 o'clock and they would sneak into the backfields, watch the guys on all the numerous backfields. They run around, get autographs. It is so much fun, and it's free.
Right. Yes, so we're really lucky because both the Rangers and the Royals allow the fans to come in and watch the practices. So again, you can come out in the morning, you can watch them practice, you can get autographs. They're really up close and personal, really accessible to the fans, and it's just an added benefit of going to a game.
Yeah. Is that part of the marketing experience for you guys? Is that something you're out there telling fans to let them know that obviously, seeing a big league game is an exciting part of coming to the stadium, but also what is available on the backfields?
We do. We let everyone know that's part of the experience, and to kind of go and do all of that first, and then head on into the game and enjoy the whole process.
All right, well, listen, Kendra, you're going to stay with us. We're not going to let Jesse Chavez's great performance ruin your night. Stay with us. We got more to talk about when we come back. 1-0 Royals. Really nice presentation, and part of it was recognition of Mark Coronado, who was instrumental in bringing the Rangers and the Royals here to Surprise and Surprise Stadium, or with Kendra Pettis, and you worked with Mark for a long time, passed away last year. Really nice presentation again today. We did it, I think, a couple of days ago, too, when these two teams got together.
Yeah, Mark's been a part of this campus and really was kind of his vision to bring out the teams and start spring training here. So it was really nice to see his family and his son come out and throw the first pitch and be a part of that. So
yeah, really good week. Kind of a fun week for all that here in Surprise. But we were talking before the inning ended about just all that it means to come out here to spring training. I ran into Don Shepard today on the backfields, and Rangers fans who watch a lot of the games on TV, they know Don Shepard because Don is at every game at home. She's constantly getting on TV, making a lot of noise, having fun, and she's having a ball back there. It was her first ever trip here to spring training.
Oh, really?
And was just loving it back there. Of course, getting next to all the guys, getting the autographs and all that sort of stuff. But there's also, I just want to point out, Kendra, there's a lot of stuff to do around here beyond just the baseball.
There is. So Surprise Stadium is actually part of the Surprise Recreation Campus. So we have our 25-court tennis and racket complex. We have our aquatic center. We have our park and a lot of other fields and amenities right around the campus. But then within the city, we also are really close to the White Tank Regional Mountain Park. So mountain biking, hiking, it's beautiful weather right now. And then we're also about 15 minutes away from Lake Pleasant, so you can be out on the lake right after the game. We've got a zoo, the World Wildlife Zoo, just a couple minutes down the road as well. So there's a lot to do. It's a great time to bring out the whole family for spring break or just take a vacation and enjoy the nice weather and the beautiful scenery.
So the Rangers really took advantage of that aquatic center that is right over here somewhere.
Right across the street. Yep.
So the first year that we had spring training here, the strength and conditioning coordinator at the time, who was no longer here, we used to have to walk over there. He would make us swim in the pool. Oh. That's part of our routine. Like it was a pool here, we're going to take advantage of it. And he had us over there, and it was intense. I mean, it was nuts. He would have us hold those 5-gallon water jugs over our head in the
hate
water.
that
It was crazy. I was like, who put this pool here? So we're kind of blaming
Sorry
you guys
about
a little bit. Yeah.
Delano DeShields with a walk to start things here in the 4th inning. Just the third base runner the Rangers have had in this one tonight.
All right, so I have one, since you're here, one complaint to file. Maybe you can fix that. I wish I had you. I could have talked to you today. Couldn't find a cup of coffee. Now I understand it's Arizona, so most people aren't thinking, but broadcasters are all about the caffeine. That's how we get through these games. And I had a hard time finding a cup of coffee today. Now, is there a spot in here that I missed that you know of?
You know what?
Because
I don't know that we do have coffee during the day games. Whenever we have something really early on, we bring out the coffee. But that's a good point. We'll make sure the broadcasters get some coffee next year.
If you want to open a stand and name it after us, we'd be perfectly open to that. We'll come out for the ribbon cutting ceremony and all of it. The Dave Raymond Coffee Center.
Yeah,
I'm going to hold you to that.
I don't actually drink coffee, but I'd be happy to be there.
See, he's not even buying it on the.
He should be buying me coffee at least. That's the least you can do, Dave.
I will if we can get over to that swimming pool and get you a good workout in. I'll do that. The Shields at first, maybe a threat to run. Rangers have really tried to employ the base running exploits a lot this spring. We'll see how well Junis holds runners as well here.
Now, how do you guys evaluate what ends up being a good spring? Is spring training? Is it strictly total number of tickets? How many visitors? What is your kind of when you look at, say, it was a good year for us because?
You know, we obviously look at ticket sales, but we also look at the visitor impact. So, you know, overnight stays in our hotels, the increase in, sales tax from the restaurants. It's a really good time for our city in general because everywhere is busy and it's, bringing in dollars to the city, and all that money goes back into the general fund to help things like police, fire, streets. So it's a big impact for our community as well.
And I would think, I throw another thing in there, and I don't want to take away from surprise, right? Because there is a lot. We did the hiking the other day with the family. That was a lot of fun. We did a little golfing here as well, which was fun. But if you go a little bit further, a little bit out of the way, there's an incredible museum, the Musical Instrument Museum. And I don't even know what town it's in, but it's way off in the distance.
In Phoenix, maybe?
Yeah, it's a little north, but it's unbelievable. Have you ever been?
I haven't. I've heard it's amazing, though.
Well, let me tell you, you got to go. Because even if you don't like music or musical instruments, there's a huge gong, and anybody who goes, you can take a big whack at this gong.
So my kids would like it,
Oh,
right?
my goodness. Every kid is in that room playing all sorts of instruments, and you could just whack things and make all kinds of noise. It's a lot of fun. It's sort of like rooming with CJ.
Well, that is the nice part about being in the region and having so many other facilities around that you can be anywhere within the Cactus League within 45 minutes.
Yep. And there are so many places to be as well, right? I mean, we love watching the games here, and we do most of our games from this ballpark. But if you do have a road game, it's just down the street.
Mm-hmm. No, it's really nice. And the growth of this place has really been unbelievable. I mentioned 2003, of course, was the first year. It was the first spring training I ever had in Arizona. And I hadn't been back since last year when I started calling games for the Rangers. So it had been, 14, 15 years. And what has changed here in Surprise over that time since this ballpark has been here? It's been incredible.
It has been. We've been really lucky. We've been one of the fastest growing cities in Arizona and in the nation for a little while, just because we've had so much growth. We've had over 100,000 increase in population over the last decade. So.
Wow. Well, it is a bucket list item for every Ranger fan, obviously for every fan of every team, certainly with the Royals being here as well. But as we kind of went through some of that stuff, and Dave listed off the great things that he got to do with his family, the baseball is a big part of it. The interaction, as you were talking with Dawn Shepard and what she does, and I mean, for fans to experience that, you got to put it on your bucket list. Spring training, at least once. I know you'd like them to do it every year, but at least once in your lifetime, you have got to come out here and visit Surprise, Arizona. Enjoy spring training. The weather is really consistent and great, and there's coffee shops other places.
Yeah, well, and soon to be a big announcement here about the coffee shop next year, which I'm really looking forward to.
That should be a good one.
But you hear it over and over again, and you say it a lot when you're in our business. But until you experience spring training, you don't get it. Mm-hmm. You have to come and do it, because all those fantasies you have, you go out to the ballpark, a big league game is amazing. It's a lot of fun. But you just sort of fantasize about, like, geez, wouldn't it be fun to talk to Joey Gallo? Wouldn't it be cool just to bump into Elvis Andrus, or to have Shin-Soo Choo right behind you at a traffic light, or whatever the case? I mean, it's crazy, because everywhere you look, you're like, oh my gosh, there's And for fans, it's just the most mind-blowing experience, and it's just a hoot to be down here. So anyway, Kendra, I mean, we say congratulations on the #1 ranking
Thank you so
by
much.
USA Today. That's pretty cool. And I agree with it. This has been just a fantastic experience the years down here. We love it. So great job.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate you guys out here, and we appreciate the Rangers and Royals.
It's a great relationship, and it's been a lot of fun, and of course, many, many more years to come. So, Kendra Pettis, here at the City of Surprise Sports and Tourism Director, thank you for spending a few minutes with us, and get to work on that coffee idea, I guess.
Vanilla lattes for everybody. I know you say you don't drink coffee, but I know you're a latte guy.
No, not even close. I don't think I've ever had a latte before. I've had coffee before, but only under duress. Now the Shields was running, but Profar fouled it off, and the count stays full. That's the first time the Rangers have had a base runner last through a subsequent hitter. The previous 2 base runners the Rangers have had today, Robinson in the first inning, Mazzara in the second inning, were doubled up in the very next at bat. The Shields still on after the Robinson strikeout, and now Profar just trying to move him up. Lifted how to play, and Delano will go back and try it again, working on his jump.
So I doubt it was intentional, but just as we were kind of going through the greatness of Surprise Stadium, gets that whiff of sausage and peppers. Is that what I smell?
No,
peppers and onions. I smell it right now, hitting me in the face. But you got to do it. I don't think it's really interesting. I think consistently you hear from people that have never been to spring training, and then they can't stop talking about it once they do it for a week.
Well, this ball belted out to right center field, and that one is off the fence. Great start for the Shields. He'll score the tying run on Profar's RBI double, and it's a new ball game. Profar's 5th RBI of the spring, his 4th double here in Arizona.
And this is why Jeff Bannister is excited about what Jurickson Profar could bring to this team. It's a nice swing from the left side for him, and absolutely smokes this ball in the gap. And it looked like he might have had a chance to get out, but it just short hops the wall. But he has that kind of offensive power in him, his ability to square it up, drive the ball gap to gap. It would be exciting to see. I mean, like I said, still just 25 years old, plenty of time. An easy run scored there for Delano to Shields. We'll see if the at-bats come and how they get there.
Well, Mazzara had the base hit in the second inning. One of 3 Rangers hits so far. See if he can do it again. A base hit to the outfield here should get Profar home and give the Rangers their first lead of the night. 1-1 the count. This ball hit hard, but to second base. And Merrifield on top of it. There are 2 away. Profar gets to third. And with 2 outs, it's going to take a hit or something along those lines anyway from Ryan Rua.
You heard how loud that was off the bat, and going back to what you were saying that Banny was happy with. Not just the hits that you see and guys driving the ball out of the ballpark, but exit velocity, right? That is a phrase that is thrown around the game a lot now. We used to just say, this guy hits the ball hard. Well, now we can put numbers on it. And he's certainly happy with what he has seen from the club so far this spring. And even that ground out right there, Nomar Mazzara squared that ball up, just topped it a little bit.
Rua bounced into the double play in the second. And Junis misses outside. It's 2-0. Well, the run scores this inning thanks to the walk. Delano drew his 6th walk of this spring to start things. Then Profar able to get him home with that ringing double. Bouncer left side, not an easy play, but Escobar makes it. The throw is high, and Rua safe. The run scores as Profar comes in from third, and the Rangers have their first lead.
good hustle here, first of all, by Ryan Rua, and it looked like it was going to be a pretty good play there from Escobar. He did a nice job of getting to that ball, but then the throw just sails on him. As you see it here, as the exchange didn't look that clean from glove to ball. He did a good job of fielding that ball, but all it takes is that to pull a first baseman off the back just a little bit, and that's why you run every single ground ball out. So good job by Ryan Rua, and keep this inning alive and give the Rangers the lead.
And E6. To get Centeno to the plate. Juan Centeno rolled out of the second. He's 0 for 1. And right now, Centeno's name is the one that continues to resonate in this battle for the backup spot at catcher. Little chopper right side. And Merrifield is there. That will end the inning. More on Centeno a little bit later. But the Rangers pick up a couple of runs in the fourth. We go to the fifth inning. Texas now leads by 1. 1. And you see the starting pitchers both pretty sharp early on. Yoander Mendez looked really good in his 3 innings tonight.
And threw the ball well, and a really good job by him, and mentioned it earlier, keeping the ball on the ground, staying aggressive in the zone. After a couple of hits in that first inning, he really settled in, did an excellent job, and keep talking about throughout spring training, leaving a good impression with the coaching staff against some big league hitters.
Jesse Chavez came in last inning and worked through part of the middle of the order there, 1, 2, 3 with a couple of strikeouts, and he gets Alfredo Escalera to spoil one foul. 0-2 the count. Escalera, then the 9th place hitter Billy Burns do this inning before they turn the lineup over again. Top of the 5th inning, Rangers leading 2-1. Another foul, this one a little deeper down the right field line by Escalera. And a souvenir. What? Tempe's a little down the road there, partner. Swing and a miss, and Escalera strikes out to start things in the 5th inning.
Take a look at what Mendez did tonight for the Texas Rangers, and I mentioned staying in the zone, good breaking ball for that called third strike. Did a nice job against the lefties after walking Saunders in the first, really controlled them after that, but it really was the ability to command that outside part of the plate to righties that made all the difference in the world, and a little bit of movement on that left-handed fastball, keeping the ball on the ground, and very nice outing for him here tonight.
Burns struck out on the second. He's 0 for 1. And Chavez runs that one tight. So now we talk about Jesse Chavez and how he slots into the plans for the Rangers. And we got to see him in our last TV game, again against the Royals. This one slugged to second base. Good range to his right. Darwin Barney, the Gold Glover, makes the play, 2 away. So this was Monday night for Chavez. Very good And today didn't start the game. Instead, comes in relief as Jeff Bannister continues to work on that hybrid role for Chavez. Not that he needs a whole lot of introduction to it. I mean, this is what he has done in his career.
And he's done it well, and it's going to provide a lot of value to the pitching staff this year. And his last 2 outings now have gone extremely well. He's been 5 up, 5 down so far in this outing. And I'm thinking, all right, well, they only play the Royals 6 times next year, but I might be thinking about, or this season, trying to get Jesse Chavez in there as much as possible based on the success that he's had against this club so far in spring.
Breaking ball in there for a strike. Gets this one rolled to short, and Ryan Rua able to protect himself and make the play. Another 1-2-3. That's 6 up, 6 down for Jesse Chavez. Rangers lead by 1. We are ready for the bottom of the 5th. Wait, we're not even close to ready for the bottom of the 5th inning, but I want to tell you this. The Rangers will be taking on the Toronto Blue Jays Saturday, April 7th. It's a 7:05 game. First 15,000 fans to the ballpark, they're going to get an Elvis Andrus bobblehead, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Brookshire's. Go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS and get yourself set for that April 7th game. And a great giveaway once again. Well, here you see Jeff Bannister talking to Drew Butera. Smile on everybody's faces. We're waiting for a pitcher to make his way to the mound. And now we finally get a Royals body to the hill. Now, you see the signal right there from our plate umpire, and that is Corey Blazer. And he's basically saying, like, go ahead, take some warm-up tosses. Look, there are a lot of new rules this year about the time that a pitcher gets. You don't longer get 8 pitches when you come in. You get whatever time's left on the clock.
Saying that for 15 years. It should have always been like that.
I agree.
It doesn't make any sense. We're so worried about how many pitches you get. Just set a clock, and they finally have done that. It took a while to get it figured out, but they have. I don't know what happened, what caused the delay exactly, but they reset the clock because it ran all the way down. The 2:05 clock ran all the way down, and there was no pitcher anywhere to be found. And then finally Oaks came out of the bullpen and they reset that 2:05 down. It only took about maybe a minute and 15 of that 2:05, so I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Well, let's just say that what we just witnessed won't go down like that in the regular season.
Definitely not.
That was a courtesy on the part of the Rangers, and and not that any other team wouldn't have extended the same courtesy. Some confusion or whatever. And Trevor Oaks, our new pitcher for the Royals, you saw he took maybe 4 or 5 pitches, and I saw after about his 4th, he looked out there, but he said, "Yeah, no, I'm ready. Let's go." But that's not gonna happen in the regular season.
Now it brings up an interesting point though. So let's just say we don't know exactly what happened. What if there was a communication issue with the phone? They don't know that during the game. The inning ends and there's nobody coming out of the bullpen because nobody in the bullpen knows who they want. Now this setup here in spring training is a little bit easier to see into the bullpen, and a lot of the ballparks you can see in a little bit. But you think about if something like that were to happen, I'm sure that the teams would be thinking.
Ground ball through the left side. That is a base hit to start the bottom of the 5th inning. So Darwin Barney, good start to the 5th for the Rangers after they put up 2 runs in the 4th inning.
See Oaks here, a little like a slider or cutter with a little bit of downward action, and Barney hits it in the right spot. But yeah, I believe that will certainly be a little bit of an issue at times if there's a problem with any kind of communication. Of course, you have to worry about anybody trying to take advantage of that, and that's going to be part of it. And every game counts in the big leagues. We know that, especially when you have a second wild card. So it will not be nearly as cordial as it just was. I think I am most interested in, as far as the rules that we have, but it's the 6 mound visits, the non-pitching change mound visits from anybody, coaches, middle infielder, catcher, whoever it may be. And that does include if the pitcher was to run over to third base and talk to the third baseman, which I thought, hey, that might be a way around this, but it's not. They got that covered. Somebody is going to, out of habit, start to go to visit the pitcher and say something to him. Middle infielder. It's going to happen because it is such a habit. I know they got spring training to kind of work through it, but there's going to be a time, and I'm curious to see how what the reaction will be when you think about really what the violation really is. You know, is it any form of cheating? Is it giving anybody an advantage? No. It's taking an extra 10 seconds, but an infielder forgot he's not allowed to take those 10 seconds. That's the part that I'm a little bit concerned about, that I don't know how that's going to play, if that's going to be such a great look for our game. We will see.
Scott Heineman, his second at bat tonight, struck out in the 3rd inning. Heineman, 25 years old. Southern California, was 11th round pick a couple of years ago by the Rangers. Last year spent the full year at AA Frisco, hit .284, and he takes one high here. It's a full count. Oaks, meanwhile, 24 years old. We saw him on Monday night. In fact, that was the last time he pitched in a spring training game. Allowed a run on 5 hits in an inning and 2/3 on Monday. And his 3-2, Heineman lifts it high in the air out to right field. Escalona is there, and there is one away.
You know, the penalty for a 7th unauthorized visit is you have to change the pitcher.
Right.
That's where, I mean, if there's an accident, if you don't have anybody ready and somebody accidentally does that, you know, there's some little things that would happen as far as the third baseman going in and talking to the pitcher, letting him know what he's doing on a bunt play. A lot of times it'd been okay, third baseman will give the signs, but then he'll go over and verbally just tell the pitcher, hey, you got the third baseline, or whatever it may be, or you're going straight in, I'm charging here. Those kinds of things. And those are little habits that are going to have to be broken that guys have done their entire professional careers. And that's the part that interests me, right? I mean, if Adrian Beltre takes 5 steps towards Cole Hamels and yells something, is that going to count?
No, it will not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it won't count. They said that there are some of those, they will leave some of that to the interpretation of the umpire, and they'll help stop guys from doing it. But if you just take a couple steps in, basically for the purpose of projecting your voice and getting the message there, it's okay. It's for the purposes of slowing things down and confusion on signs. That's what they're trying to cut down on. Little chopper, Oaks able to get up and pull that one down. Gets Alberto at first base. Barney goes to second, but there are 2 away.
Think about those times when pitcher scuffling, pitching coach has already been out to visit him, they're not ready to make a change, and he just wants to give him a breather. Nice play here by Oaks as you see him getting up. A little bit of a high throw, but nice recovery there by Cuthbert to bring it in. That's the one that I'll be curious about. It doesn't happen a ton, but just that it'll count as a visit. And that the players have to know at one point, once the 6 visits happen, you can't go talk to the pitcher. Like, they all have to be aware that's something new that they'll have to think about. But there's time you're seeing your pitcher, he's scuffling, you know nobody can go talk to him. Well, the pitching or a coach can't come out and talk to him because they already did. You just want to go give him a breather, right? And it's 100 degrees in August in Arlington, and you just want to give him a quick breather to kind of catch his breath. You're not allowed to do that. And that's the part where I'm like, well, let's see how it plays out. Ultimately, what it does here, I don't know how much time we're ultimately really going to be saving that'll make skipping that visit worth it.
Ooh, I think we're going to save a lot.
You think? Yeah,
yep.
well, yeah, the unnecessary ones, sure.
I think it's going to be great, to be honest with you. I really like the rule. And look, you do have 6 visits. So, if you use them judiciously, and there's a guy you're worried about or time of the game you're worried about, save them to then.
What about not having? You think they should not do that in the postseason?
What do you mean?
Like get rid of that rule in the postseason or have it?
No, we got to have it.
Brian McCann visited Lance McCullers Jr. 6 times in the first inning in a postseason.
And that's why you got to have it.
6 times he visited.
Yeah, no, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, and that was, it's crazy. But their concern, and actually a lot of guys have talked about this, is because they feel like they have to use so many multiple sets of signs because of the cheating that they feel is going on or what's potentially out there with technology, that they're constantly changing signs, much more than they ever have in years past. And that's where there's concern, and that's where they feel like those visits are necessary. Even the 5-second one, I almost want to see them timed. You know what I mean? Almost like, right, you get 5 full visits and you get 3 10-second visits. You know what I mean? I honestly think there's value to that 5-second visit. What do you think?
No, I don't. I like the idea of simply putting this number of 6 on for right now and see how it plays. And I think it will make a big difference. And I'm really behind it. Will there be complications and things that occur? Probably, but we'll get past it. And I think in the long run, it'll make the game better. And they may tweak it eventually, but I think for right now they needed to address it. Not every team does it a lot, but the teams that do, it's absurd. And there's just too much of that going on. And I think we're all big boys. Let's figure out a way around it now, and that'll be the next step. Is who does a good job of figuring out either how to communicate without those visits, whatever the case. We'll see. Little bouncer first. Nice shot by Cuthbert. Inning is done, and the Rangers leave a man in scoring position. We played 5 so far. Rangers leading by a run. We're going to keep it here, and it's time to put Emily Jones to work. This is some tough work right here. She's hanging out with Pudge.
Yes, this shy guy next to me who can't stand talking. I'm going to be forced to ask him questions and pry information out of him. The Hall of Famer Pudge Rodriguez. Pudge, your first time in camp. What have been your observations thus far?
Well, everything has been great. Well, hi, Emily.
Hi, Pudge.
Hi, guys upstairs, and hi, guys back home.
So bashful.
Everything is great. What I see so far is it's been good. The guys are in great shape. I saw Elvis this morning. He looked in great shape. So Odor, everybody's doing good. The good thing is they're all healthy, and that's a good sign. Seeing that 1 week away, a couple of weeks away for the season, that's good to see.
And you've stayed busy this offseason. Maybe you can help our friend CJ out with some coffee, Pudge. You launched a coffee line. Tell me about this.
Yeah, the coffee they call Pudge Coffee. Obviously, I've been working the project for a couple of years, and see Jeff, that's right here. Mm-hmm. Jeff.
He likes coffee also.
Yeah,
and sunflower seeds.
Yeah, he drinks coffee in the morning. But yeah, it's a project that I've been working for a couple of years. We do it in Puerto Rico. Everything has been made in Puerto Rico, and we launched it a month ago, and it's doing well.
And you have been hard at work in your home country, still helping dig them out from the devastation.
Yeah, absolutely. Puerto Rico is looking better. Obviously, still a lot of work to do. Still, a lot of people still out of power, but we're getting better. I think, the hope. Everybody's positive in Puerto Rico. I was there for a month, helping, doing some stuff there. We did some event, raising money for the people. So we're getting better. It's going to take a long time, but we're looking good. And
you weren't just in this camp today. You made a stop in another camp earlier today. Tell us the reasoning behind that.
Well, I went to Scottsdale. I see my son. He's pitching for the Giants, and I came in the morning and worked with the minor league catchers, and then I went to Scottsdale. But it's kind of far. It's like an hour from there, but it's okay. For him, I'd drive 7 hours if I had to. But he did good through 2 innings, through 27 pitches, and he did a good job. More nerve-wracking for you to watch him than it was for you to play? Well, absolutely. I want him to do a good outing every time, and today was a good one. So it was 1, 2, 3 for a couple of innings, so he did a great job. I want to ask you, any guys you're keeping an eye on that you are curious to see or anxious to see what kind of season they have? I want to see Odor. He's been working hard, taking some pitches. I want him to to be more selective at the play, stay away from his high pitches that he has trouble last year. And I think Adur he's capable to be close to the 300 batting average for the season. So that's one of the players that I wanted to see. Obviously, I want to see Adrian stay healthy and pretty much all the pitching staff. The key is, having the whole pitching staff healthy, and if we have that this year, we're going to have a good year.
And then finally, I want to ask you one thing about the guys were talking earlier about the changes in the rules, the mound visits. How do you think that will impact, and how difficult of a habit is that to break?
Well, every year is something new is going to come out. It's going to come out to the game, but I think it's good for the game. I think it's because they want to speed up the game, and I think it's good for baseball. They're gonna keep doing some more rules for baseball for the good, and so to me, I'm fine with it. I think to me, it's enough to come 1 or 2 times, and then in between inning, you have plenty of time to talk to the pitcher here. So I'm okay with it. I think they're gonna continue doing more, but as long as the game. They keep the pace in the game and the game stay the same, I'm good with that.
Okay, I lied. One more thing I want to ask you about. Jesse Chavez, the night that he's having tonight, the spring that he's had, what does he bring to this staff?
Well, experience, obviously. He's been in the big league for a while, and I think is a very good guy to have him from the bullpen. He can start games for you. He can be a middle guy. He can come late in the game. But I think the experience they have, he's been very good. I think this is his third inning so far today, and he's been throwing a lot of strikes. One of the things that he's working is just to get ahead in the count, and so far tonight he's been doing it.
How excited are you to be back on TV on a regular basis here on the Rangers broadcast?
I'm already on TV.
No, but I mean, this guy.
He's always on TV.
I'm excited. I'm good. Looking forward to it. I'm going to be there for opening day, and looking forward to go back and see the people back home and be on TV again and be with you.
Well, Pudge, we're happy to have you back as always, and you always keep things interesting.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, guys, back up to you.
Thanks, Emily. And that smile, that smile is what we love. He makes it easy to enjoy being around him. A 1-2-3 for Jesse Chavez. 3 perfect innings for him. We go to the bottom of the 6th. More comfortable. And hey, if you're looking for tickets to opening day, about a 10 game plan. It offers opening day for free. 6 different plans available starting at just $190. Go to texasrangers.com/10 game plans to buy your plan today. The sale will end March 19th. That's like a couple of days away, so get on it. There's a bouncer down to first base. And there is our first out here at the bottom of the 6th inning. Drew Robinson dispatched of quickly. And Trevor Roke's out for a 2nd inning of work. Well, that will bring up Brendan Davis. I believe, yeah, it is Brendan Davis. He came in defensively last inning for the Rangers at shortstop, and Davis will get his first at bat of the night. Did you see that change when it happened, CJ?
I didn't see it when it happened, but that is where the MLB At Bat app comes into play. So I actually already knew it. I looked over because, especially in spring training, listen, it's an invaluable tool for us in spring training. I don't know if it's more valuable than it is because they're on it with the changes and they happen fast. And there's a lot of guys who don't have names on the back of their uniforms or come over from our own camp. Like, we have a list of guys that come over, but it can be a little bit tricky keeping up with it. So I actually did know that Brendan Davis was in for Junction Profar.
I love it.
Can't promise that that will continue throughout spring training, but I was aware of that, which is one of 2 changes.
Ryan Luis Marte came in at second base, but he will be batting 7th.
Correct.
Oaks, meanwhile, scoreless 5th inning, up high to Davis here, and it's 1-1. So it's a split squad day. The same 2 teams played a game here today, local time at noon. Back home it was 2 o'clock, 2:05 first pitch. And there was a little incident in the game that really confused folks. It was a lot of fun. So Rougned Odor started the game and was in the game there, middle innings, whenever this exactly occurred, when his brother, Rougned Odor, checked in the game as well to play second base. You had Rougned, or rather shortstops. You had Rougned Odor at short, Rougned Odor at second. And the Royals broadcast team refused to believe that that was true. They were brothers and that was the case. The line drive out to left field, and Davis turned back 2 away. So our stage manager, Bob, who's in here tonight with us, he was with the Royals earlier today, and he's like, okay, fine. I'll go. I'm going to go. I'm going to go ask. Runs down, finds Rangers media relations team, makes sure, hey, what's going on over here? Yeah. Rougned Odor is his brother. You'll notice a different middle name, middle initial. Yeah, they're brothers. Comes back, tells the guys in the Royals booth, and they're like, no, I don't think so, Bob. I don't think so. Not buying it. Well, but anyway, it happened, which is really cool.
Absolutely. And we always love to see broadcast teams get confused. That adds to the entertainment as well.
Makes us feel better about ourselves as a roller up the middle by Mazzara and his second hit of the night.
And I say this out of love. I don't think it's that difficult to get Rex Hudler a little flustered. one of my favorites, and the guy that has been extremely kind to me. Check out Nomar Mazzara here. Nice job going with this pitch. That ball ends up being out off the plate, not even over the plate, but probably off in a ball, and just an excellent approach. And we've seen Nomar do this, and one of the things that I was most impressed with him last year was not only his ability to hit the ball the other way, but also his ability to drive the ball the other way. So that's certainly a good sign right there with that hit.
And he is done for the night. Hunter Cole comes in a pinch run for him. There's Hunter. Steve Buechele offering a little advice. 2 outs and the 1-0 to Ryan Rua. Fouled away. Rua 0 for 2, reached on an error in the 4th inning, but that error allowed the go-ahead run to score. It looked like it was going to end the inning. And it was a ground ball to the shortstop at the time, Escobar, who threw it just a little bit too high, and Rua beat it out and allowed Profar to score the run, and it's been 2-1 since then.
I think this will be an interesting year for Ryan Rua back in that spot. Chance to platoon. It sounds like that's probably how things will start here for the Rangers at the beginning of the season between him and Drew Robinson. We'll see if it's strictly lefty-righty platoon. Obviously, that would probably cost him some at-bats, being the right-handed hitter of the 2. I'm sure he'll get some starts against righties. Of course, he'll be able to fill in at first base as well if there's that tough lefty.
Delayed steal attempt, and Hunter Cole out by a mile at second base. Now, we'll get back to those thoughts in a little bit more depth later on. The caught stealing ends the inning, and we'll go to the 7th inning tonight. Rangers leading by 1.
been some of the regulars out of the game. Among them, the guy sitting next to me, trying to field a ball from Ryan Rua, is Nomar Mazara. Nomar?
Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hi, Nomar. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
How is your spring going so far?
It's going really good. Can't complain, you know. This is my first night game, so I feel pretty good.
Yeah. Building off of last season, 100 RBIs, a nice milestone for you to reach. What do you do for an encore?
You know.
2 microphones. Lots of hijinks in spring training, right?
Yeah, you know, this guy is always trying to be funny, but wow, I don't know. That's a good day right there. You know, it was nice to have 100 RBIs. Not too many players they're able to do that, so you know, it was a good moment driving 101, and you know, try to do it again.
I know you guys, as a young core, have talked about taking ownership of this team and really wanting to make your mark on this organization. Can you kind of fill us in or let us in a little bit on those conversations and kind of that mission that you guys have as a young group?
Yeah, you know, I'm playing with all those guys through minor league, and you know, we had that conversation before, and you know, when the old guys leave, it's gonna be us. So you know, that's the way it is. Belcher is gonna be out of here soon. We don't want to because he still rakes. So, but that's the way it is. I always got a couple more years, you know. But when they leave, it's gonna be our opportunity to lead this team. And you know, we try and learn from them and see the way they go about their business on and off the field. And you know, they've been great for us so far.
Do you feel like, too, the lack of expectations outside of the organization is a motivating factor for you guys?
Yeah, you know, come on. What was that?
Just the fact that, the lack of expectations outside of the organization, obviously not pertaining to what goes on inside the organization, does that fuel you guys?
Yeah, you know, it's at the same time motivate ourselves to keep working hard and to prove them that we can do it. And that's what we're here for. Look at that guy. That's what we're here for. Like, you know, at the end of the day, we don't want to go home. We're gonna win. So we motivate ourselves every day to be the best player we can.
And then one other thing too, Nomar, how has it at all, your approach changed from spring to spring as you've become more established as a big league player?
I'd probably play like, I don't know, 15 games. Probably less than that, I don't know. And I felt really, really good. So I've been talking to Mash to try to stick the same approach through the whole year. That's what I wanted to do. And you know, he know what I can do. And every day we're talking, he's like, wow, you look really, really good right now. So what I'm working on, I don't care what I do here. I just want to do the same thing, you know, try to work over and over the same routine to try to get that feeling to the whole season. So that's what I've been working on.
Okay, you've always talked about being a field player. Mm-hmm. And so how much of that, of the spring is that, and not oriented toward the results, but rather, like you talked about, getting in that rhythm? And are you able to get in it faster, like you said, because you're getting more playing time?
Yeah, and I go out there and I have a better plan. I know what to do. You know, I'm able to see the situation a little better. And you know, it all starts in the off season. I work a lot, and you know, like I say, just try to get the same feeling. I work a lot with my hands, try to get my hands to the position that I wanted, to my strong position, and you know, I'm seeing the results right now. I hope, you know, they can continue to see the results in the season and try to keep the same feeling the whole season.
And also not afraid to show off the arm here in spring training. We saw it today.
That was my only bullet today, so.
Well, it worked. It got there effectively. Nomar, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Emily.
You're very welcome. Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Nice job as always. Good to hear from Nomar. Seems like he's in very good spirits. This ball hit sharply into right field. And then another base hit for the Royals. It has been a bit of an onslaught here in the fourth inning. Ashley the double, Prado the home run. Butera now that base hit as well brings up Billy Burns. You know, Mazzara was just talking about, and Emily talking about all the young guys. And look at last season. This was an interesting number. When you look at the number of combined games by players 24 or younger, the Rangers, by a long shot, the most in baseball, more than the Cubs or even the Padres. A lot of youth to build on.
And an encouraging group too, right? I mean, and not only guys that were playing games, but guys you feel good about for the future. And that's what Nomar was just talking about. And I loved how he phrased it. So once the old guys get out of here, which might not be that well received by the older guys, but the point is well taken. And it makes a lot of sense. You know, I was having this conversation on radio. A Ranger fan called in and was talking about concerns about the prospects that are ready right now to help at the big league level. And I said, well, you got to keep this in mind. Look what's happening at the big league level. And currently at the big league level, we just showed that graphic, which I think kind of echoes the point. But I even took it to players that were under 26, like under those prime years, and how many of them are expected to be in the lineup this year. Delino DeShields, Nomar Mazara, Joey Gallo, Rougned Odor. I mean, these are guys that are young prospects, but they're past the prospect stage, technically, because now they're in the big leagues and they're getting it done. And so to say, well, how come they don't have 4 or 5 more guys that are ready to go? Well, they're in the big leagues right now.
Oh, the throw. Enough to pull him off the bag and allow Burns, I guess we'll see how it's scored, whether it's a bunt single or an error.
It was a tough play, and he did a really nice job of picking this ball and making sure that it didn't get away. But you'll see the bunt here, and it's a good one, executed to the third baseman, which is exactly what you want to do. That's a tremendous pick right there, so I'm sure that'll be a base hit. Looked like he would have beat it out anyway. That's cool. I tell you what, that view right there, like he might have been out, but that was a really nice pick. Not easy for a second baseman when he comes over. That bunt play. But point being is that there are really good young players in this system right now, but they're in the big leagues now, and they're getting it done. And the idea that you're going to have 4 or 5 contributors that are under 25 years old, the big league level, and then have 3 or 4 more sitting there waiting at 22, and that next group, I think that's pretty unrealistic. And so, I think some of the prize guys right now to get excited about in the system are a little bit younger, a couple more years away. And your young players, the young ones, they're here right now, and they're making a difference. And you get excited when you think about having a core like that can really hopefully stick together for the long term. They certainly seem like they've bonded well as a group, and as Nomar so well stated, looking forward to their time when they then turn it over to from being young to being the leaders on the club.
Chavez runs that one on the inside corner to Whit Merrifield for a strike. Bases are loaded, nobody out, and the Royals have struck for a couple of runs this inning. All 5 hitters who have come up have reached. Merrifield hits this ball hard out to right field, but it's handled out there and hustled back in quickly by Hunter Cole. It's a sac fly. Gets Gutierrez to the plate, and it makes it a 4-2 Kansas City lead.
And what better mentor to have than Adrian Beltre? I mean, that's the other part, and that's what he mentioned. When you think about grooming young players who are eventually going to be asked to lead this team, and that includes Elvis Andrus as well, even though he's not, under age 25, still a player that'll be impactful here once Adrian Beltre moves on. But they're in such a tremendous position to be able to have him to be the guy that they learn from.
More youth coming on. Jose Leclerc coming out of the bullpen for the Rangers when we come back. have men at first and second bases. We get our first look at Jose Leclerc. So his numbers from last year, 47 appearances, an ERA under 4.
He had a great year last year. Had opponents' batting average against sticking out even more. I mean, the ERA was fine, but what he did last year and the lack of quality contact against him, a tremendous changeup that he has that he disguises so well, looks like a slider. Jose was a big part of the bullpen last year, did an excellent job.
When he is commanding the strike zone, he is as nasty and difficult a pitcher to hit as there is. The problem, when there is a problem with Leclerc, is when he has a little control issue. That one skips away briefly, allows one of the runners to advance. Escalera goes from second to third base.
Yeah, that was the issue, and it seemed like he really had gotten good control of those issues, no pun intended, for the most part. But then it started slipping away from him last year toward the end of the year as far as the walks went, and he's got that kind of stuff. He knows it. He can get into the zone a little bit more consistently. It certainly helps Jeff Bannister when he's making those decisions as far as who he's bringing in from those games is really important. And so far this spring, just one walk in 8 innings. He's done a nice job.
Runner going from first. Escobar pops this one up into foul ground. And Rua backpedals underneath it. 2 gone. So interesting night tonight for Jesse Chavez. First 3 innings was perfect. It was the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings. And you go back to what we saw from him Monday night when he retired the 9 batters he faced there. He had set down 18 consecutive hitters, all against the Royals, and then came out in the 7th inning with double homer, 3 straight singles before that sac fly. So just all of a sudden, the Royals were able to make some contact on him. I guess second looks at him. It's now Leclerc, and he's upstairs to Michael Saunders.
And I think with Jesse Chavez, you look at this outing, had this been the regular season, he's probably not stretching it out for a 4th inning, but I think it probably makes some sense for the Rangers to push that pitch count just a little bit, because there is always that possibility that he would have to make some spot starts for the club. And so a little bit of a different approach with him, I think, in spring training than would probably be in the regular season in this type of game situation. He cruised and he was locked in, but push that pitch count a little more. He was so unbelievably efficient last time. Remember, through just those 29 pitches, that to stretch it out a little bit more, get that pitch count up. He's going to be valuable though this year for the club. The idea of impact multiple inning pitchers, that's kind of a new trend as well in this game. We talk about using your closer earlier or your best arm. That's been a trend that we've seen with relievers, but now actually having impact arms. And the reason that's become necessary in general in our game is because teams are getting away from pushing the starters too hard. We saw that on display in the World Series to a degree that we have never seen. Rich Hill essentially not allowed to go through the lineup for a 3rd time. It was the first time in World Series history where not a single starter went 6 innings.
Runner leads. Leclerc's offering. Runner goes, and it's in there for a strike, but no throw offered. So Burns steals second base, and he joins Escalera in scoring position. 3 runs in this inning, and it has given Kansas City the 4-2 lead. We're in the top of the 7th. Spring training baseball down here at Surprise, Arizona. Check swing. Did he go? An appeal. Yes, he did. Our base umpires today, that is Ramon de Jesus, who has moved from second base now over to third tonight. The base umpires during these spring training games, they move around. Unlike the regular season where that's your assignment for the night. Stay there. Don't move.
I'm going to get one of those necklaces right there in the back.
Right? How much battery do those have?
Are they St. Patrick's Day only? Can you wear that tomorrow?
Oh, you could, right? You're just not going to be real popular.
Bring it back for Mardi Gras next year.
Swing and a miss, and Leclerc gets a strike out of Saunders to end the inning, but 3-run score for the Royals. They retake the lead. It's a 4-2 game.
Well, nice job by Jose Leclerc to finish off this inning. There it is, that nasty changeup down below the zone. Michael Saunders cannot lay off it. Good job there by Jose Leclerc.
Here at Surprise Stadium in Surprise, Arizona, and a doubleheader split squad for the Rangers today. However, no Adrian Beltre or Elvis Andrus in either game. And talking to Jeff Bannister about that decision, he said it was just a matter of giving those guys the day off as far as the field was concerned. They, of course, worked out with the team this morning, but he said they have a plan in place with the veterans in particular, and they wanted to stick to that plan regardless of the way the schedule lined out with which games were where. So that's the reason neither one of those guys were in the lineup today, but will likely, and I want to say likely because I did not speak to the manager about this, but be in the lineup tomorrow. Drawing my own conclusions.
I mean, just
there.
Make your own lineup, Emily. Let's be honest. I mean, announce your presence with authority. You are back in Surprise, Arizona, and you will now make the lineup for the rest of spring training.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say both of them are going to be in there, and just roll the dice that way. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. How about that?
Exactly. And they will be in there. I'm almost certain.
They'll be walking by asking Emily, am I playing tomorrow?
Sharpie. It's in there. Foul away by Rua, 1-2. Yeah, there are no certainties in this month in sports. You can say things with confidence, but we don't know. Oaks out for another inning. A little tight there on Rua.
Just think about this last inning as we see, get later in the game, and of course this is kind of what happens in spring training where Drew Robinson is out of the game, Nomar's out of the game, Jurickson Profar is out of the game. It's building up for the year, of course, makes sense. Who's coming to get us? We do all 9 innings, right?
We do. That's a good question.
Run that by John Blake.
Late inning guy.
Who's caddying me after the 6th inning?
Emily kind of caddies us really through most of this. Swing and a miss, and Rua strikes out to start the 7th inning. A lot of changes for the Royals this inning as well. By the way, you mentioned it earlier, Rangers baseball from spring training, always live with MLB at bat. The app will keep you connected every day with live radio calls, video highlights, stats, breaking news, and a whole lot more. Just download MLB at bat today. It's your #1 Rangers app. There's plenty of good apps out there, but that's a life changer. Once Centeno fouls that one off. He's in a hole 0-2.
I mean, it's not even close as far as apps I use the most. How about you?
No, I mean, that's kind of the only reason I have a smartphone. That and a camera now, which I used to despise the fact that you needed a camera on your phone, but that's it. I use the camera and MLB.com at bat. Centeno goes down quickly. A swinging strikeout, 2 away. And Oaks looking good in his 3rd inning of work. Wholesale changes for the Royals this inning defensively. We may not get you all of them. We may not really even know all of them. We're doing our best. There you go. There are your changes. Fitting on St. Patrick's Day, O'Hearn checks in at first. And he may handle this pop-up. And he does. I'm glad we got him in there. 4-2 as we go to the bottom, or rather to the 8th. Royals up by 2. Arizona. We've referenced a little bit of it, but a lot of changes this year in Major League Baseball. The season extended with 4 additional off days added. Really creates an extra week in the schedule this year. Netting installed to at least the far end of everybody's dugouts, which is a great add as we get going here in the 8th inning. Talking about the mound visits, without a pitching change, you're limited to 6 per 9-inning game. You do get an additional 1 for extra innings, but that's it, no matter how many extra innings there are. And you do get to carry any you didn't use in the 9 innings into extra innings.
Oh, so, you do? Okay, that's important. Good to know.
Yeah, there's the additional non-pitching change mound visit and extra innings.
So you're saying it's only 1 for all of extra innings?
That's right. So we go to the 10th inning. All right, everybody's account credited 1 more Bitcoin and mound visit. And but that's it.
So if you played 18 innings, you only get 1 mound visit.
That's all you got.
That's not good stuff.
This ball belted out to left field. Carrying high in the air. Very well to left, and that one is gone. Leclerc shaking his head. As he allows the homer to Ryan O'Hearn, and it makes it a 3-run Royals lead.
See right here what Jose Leclerc didn't miss his spot by much. It was a fastball. They wanted it down a little bit more, but still the side of the plate. And go ahead and give credit to Ryan O'Hearn. Does a nice job on a fastball away and driving it the other way, showing some pop.
It's his day. Now Liddy, and he swings and misses at strike 1. Liddy's first at bat of the day came in defensively last inning. Leclerc got the final 2 outs in the 7th. He jumps ahead here 0-2. Liddy didn't look real comfortable with that swing.
He might have been sitting fastball or just did not pick up the spin of that. I mean, you don't really sit fastball in an 0-1 count. He was completely fooled there by Jose Leclerc.
He's a good-sized guy, 6'4", 225 pounds. 29 years old, and he Kicks that one outside for a ball. Leclerc taking that long look. Liddy from Italy. Born and raised, went to high school in Italy. One of those, the few Italians who have made it to the big leagues. He's got a little time under his belt with the Royals. 6 big league home runs. 5-2 Kansas City. They won the opener earlier today at noon at local time. I guess 2 o'clock back home. They won that ball game. Another close one. 7-6 ball game. And this is a Royals offense that has really found its stride lately. On Monday, when we were last on the airwaves, Rangers held the Royals to 1 run. Since then, they've scored 48 runs in their last 5 games. They'd won their last 4 prior to this one tonight, and they've added 5 more runs and trying to keep their winning streak going. Goody shoots this one out to right field. Hangs up there a moment for Cole, and there is one away.
So you mentioned just a few players that come from Italy to reach the big leagues. Do you know the total number of players?
I do not.
7. Now, he hasn't seen big league time since 2013, but prior to that, we had not seen a big leaguer that was born in Italy since 1962.
Is that right?
It's been a while.
Wow, that is a long time.
This may come as a surprise to you. 6 of the 7 players that have played in the big leagues from Italy. Last names end in I.
Here's Prado, swings and misses at strike 1. He's been in there the whole game. Designated hitter, at least tonight. Prado, interesting. You talk about rarities, right? The Italian-born players in the big leagues. I mentioned earlier that Prado was the first-round pick last year for Kansas City in the draft, a first baseman, and you don't see a lot of that.
And positions change so often, right? Especially when you're talking. I mean, regardless if they're coming out of high school or college, but especially high school.
Fly ball center field. And there are 2 away.
That's an impressive at bat for a 19-year-old kid who's facing a very good big league reliever. Hit that ball hard, even though it's a line out. He took a pretty aggressive approach and a good swing. And again, those are the kind of things that Ned Yost will remember. Now, he's without a doubt at least a couple of years away, but some good things happening for him here in camp with the Royals.
Drew Butera has started the game of catchers, played the whole way so far. Takes a strike. 1 for 3 tonight, and pushed off the plate. It's 1-1. Royals got 3 runs in the 7th inning. Added a run here in the 8th. It was giving them the 3-run lead as Leclerc buries that one. It's 2-1. Leclerc, 3rd pitcher of the night. Yoander Mendez started. Yoander was very good tonight. 3 innings, gave up 3 hits, struck out 4, walked only 1. Jesse Chavez retired the first 9 hitters he faced, but then ran into trouble. Went 3 1/3, and allowed 3 runs on 5 hits. No walks and 3 strikeouts for him. And Leclerc runs that one off the plate. And one of the big stories now in camp, and we'll get a look at it in tomorrow's broadcast, is we will get our first look at Martine Perez. Perez will pitch tomorrow against the Angels. 3-1 pitch, and that one fouled away. It'll be his first appearance this spring. Now he maintains he's ready to go, and he'll be there opening day all set. And that's the question that remains to be answered. And if he is, that could mean potentially bad news for Bartolo Colon. If he's not quite ready, that might mean good things for Bartolo Colon, who started the earlier game today, went 4 innings, allowed 5 runs on 7 hits, but really all that damage was done to the first 4 or 5 hitters of the game.
And he talked about it today after the game and said he would have no problem going into the bullpen if that's what the Rangers wanted him to do. He's certainly a valuable swing man. Martine threw in a minor league game. I actually got a chance to watch that, went over and watched him make that first spring training appearance. But he's doing against minor league hitters and some hard hit balls, and I think it's a really good idea to get him in a big league game. You always worry about, and you guys will tell you this all day long, pitching in those minor league games, the adrenaline is just low. And for A-ball, double-A guys, they get a chance to face a big league hitter, they come out hacking. Because they know that they have nothing to lose and everything to gain, and they're going to take their chances. And the Dodgers minor leaguers did that a little bit and connected on a couple of balls, but I think we'll see a little bit of a different story with Martine tomorrow.
2 outs here and a man at first base for the Royals. Whoa, look out. Loose bat.
And went right into that protective net that the coaches use here. The coaching staffs on both sides will actually sit outside of the dugout, but they put that big screen right there in front of them. And the idea there, of course, is that no foul balls would hit them. But every once in a while, heads up, a loose bat may be coming your way as well. That could have been a shin burner right there.
So 0-2 on Hernandez. And strike 3 called. So not an impressive at bat for him. The inning is done, but the Royals add a run. They lead 5-2. Take a look at our spring training schedule, and tomorrow, you see it right there, right back here on TX 821, the Angels in town. I mentioned Martine Perez starting for the Rangers, and we understand that Shohei Ohtani will be making the trip for the Angels, so that will be kind of interesting to see tomorrow. And then, of course, we've got the Rockies on Monday night, afternoon game on Wednesday against the Cubs. They're back here at TX 821 on Thursday evening to see the Reds. By the way, those 2 games on the 26th, 27th, those are back home at Globe Life Park. We'll televise Monday night's game. Tuesday, the afternoon game will be on radio only.
So do we believe Ohtani coming over in the hitting capacity only?
I believe,
right?
I believe he'll be here to hit tomorrow. Willie Peralta on to pitch now for Kansas City. And his first pitch to Heineman in there for strike 1.
It's been a struggle. That'll be interesting to see. And he'll get himself, assuming he's starting, of course, a left-handed starter to go up against.
Peralta off speed a little high, 1-1. Heineman's been in there the whole way today. Struck out in the 3rd, flied out in the 5th inning. Is 0 for 2. Now, Ohtani was the story of the offseason, and he's kind of turned into a non-story this spring. And I was awfully curious to see him this spring. And he just has kind of fizzled. Now it's just spring training, so who knows? But he's at the point right now with what he has turned in down here in Arizona, where there is now growing conversation about will he start the year at AAA instead of the big leagues. That would be quite interesting.
There was a story today that said he is still on track in the LA Times to be with the Angels when the season starts. We will see, but he has struggled offensively, and the velocity's been down a little bit. Now, there's a huge adjustment period for him that is certainly reasonable for him to figure out and get comfortable. Every player that comes over from Asia has to go through it and played in their professional ranks. Spring training is completely different. Of course, baseballs. And he's trying to hit and pitch, which is, obviously something we don't see very often. And all that attention that he got this offseason, and the expectations have come along with it and been very high. It's been a little bit of a slow start, so that is becoming an interesting storyline as far as what is best for that club. What's, I think, difficult for them if he struggles to hit, right, and they realize, okay, well, we can't keep him here to hit to start the season at least. Well, they traded away C.J. Cron because he was out of options, and they really didn't see where he was going to be able to fit in this year with Ohtani coming over, which meant that Albert Pujols was going to play more first base. Well, if Ohtani is not the DH 3 or 4 times a week, that means Albert Pujols would slide back into the DH role, and Luis Valbuena would probably play first base more than what was expected. So a little bit of a change of plan potentially for the Angels. Certainly a storyline worth watching the rest of spring.
It'll be fun to get a up close and personal look at him tomorrow. We look at Willie Peralta, the 28-year-old, making his 5th appearance of spring for Kansas City. 3-2, and he strikes out Heineman on a breaking ball, 1 away. And we mentioned Shohei Ohtani going to be one of the big stories in the regular season, at least anticipated as one of the big stories. At the bottom of your screen there, you see Babe Ruth, 15 starts, 29 home runs back in 1919, only player in history with at least 15 starts and 15 bombs in a season. So that's one thing you look for with Ohtani. The Astros, look at that last team to repeat, the Yankees in '99 and 2000. It's been 17 consecutive different World Series champs. As they smash into left field. Base hit. Rangers have a runner aboard.
Well, nobody wants to see that as far as the Astros repeating.
Then, of course, you have Pujols closing in on 3,000 hits. Cabrera, legitimate shot at 500 home runs. So a lot to keep our eye on in the regular season. A lot of big storylines or potential storylines. Josh Altman with that base hit, his first of the spring, and immediately chased back to the bag.
Well, I do think it's a lot more difficult now than ever to try to repeat. Can't necessarily, I'm not saying the Yankees did this, but you can't buy yourself a championship anymore. Things have changed a little bit as far as the best ways to spend your money. We saw both the Yankees and the Dodgers this past offseason trying to get under that luxury tax threshold. So the business side of things has certainly changed in that regard. And teams are run better than ever. Even though we see more teams that go into the rebuild, which takes your contenders down, I think the competition amongst contenders has gotten much better. Trying to go on any kind of World Series run. We showed, of course, that the Yankees were the last team to win back-to-back. They went 3 in a row. Right? They won 98, 99, and 2000. Just a really difficult thing to do in today's game.
Altman with his lead. Peralta very deliberate. And a bouncer, fair ball. That one slowly trickling down the left field line. Altman will head to third, to Shields into second with a double. His 5th of the spring. And Rangers setting it up nicely here in the 8th inning.
Delino to Shields continues to get it done. It was interesting when we talked to him during the game in our last television broadcast, and this is what he does so well, right? That high batting average when he hits the ball on the ground, does a good job keeping his hands in and getting this ball down the line on a pretty good inside pitch. I didn't square it up, but he hit it exactly where he needed to. But I found it pretty fascinating when he told us, I'm not trying to hit the ball on the ground. He had an unbelievable batting average on those ground balls, and it just seemed to be a really strong part and smart part of his game. And he's like, well, I'm not trying to do that. I want to hit the ball in the gap, and I want to go run for doubles and triples. He does a good job. I think the more important thing is he's very anti what we're seeing in the game, which is getting the ball in the air. And he knows that that's not his strength. Sure, he'll try to knock one out of the ballpark once in a while. But probably, as opposed to thinking, well, he's trying to hit the ball on the ground, it's that he's not trying to get under the ball and hit it up in the air, if that makes sense. It's worked well for him.
Well, Jose Cardona with an opportunity here, driving a couple of big runs. If he can come up with a hit against Willie Peralta. Peralta had a rough outing his last time out on Wednesday against the Cubs. 1-1 the count on Cardona. Cardona just 1 for 8 this spring, but Peralta gave up 4 runs, 4 hits, a couple of walks in an inning against the Cubs on Wednesday. He was signing this offseason back in December by the Royals. He had previously been a longtime Brewer, last 5 years, in fact, with Milwaukee. In 19 appearances, 8 starts with the Brewers last year, and he just misses the outside corner. It's 2-1. So a new home for Peralta, and he's still getting used to his new teammates, no doubt. 2-1 pitch, and there's a strike. Even things up at 2-2 on Cardona. Cardona, a young guy, as you pointed out, a lot of these guys just to, trying to make an impression. Get noticed by the staff and take advantage of these little opportunities that pop up for them in spring training. It's this ball up the middle. It'll get home a run. And it makes it a 5-3 game. So Altman able to sneak in from third base. DeShields moves up. Third 2-1.
Well, try to do a little bit more damage, but when you have 2 strikes, you got to make sure you put the ball in play. And that was a pretty good breaking ball from Peralta on the outside part of the plate. So Cardona at least gets 1 run across the board. And getting that tough spot because you know how important both of those RBIs would be, but at the same time, you don't want to get over aggressive and not put the ball in play. So I think a good job. He'll take it right now. See if the Rangers can add 1 more. As things get interesting here in the 8th.
Give Brendan Davis a chance to do something here. Davis is second at bat of the game. Flied out in the 6th inning. He's 21 years old. Won't chase that one. 2-1 the count. Last year, split time with 3 different clubs: Great Lakes, Rancho Cucamonga, and Hickory. Not hit for a high average really anywhere he went, nor has he at any one point in his career. The best run he has had was a 245 clip at Great Lakes. But on base percentage has been pretty good. So show some patience. We'll work a count. Originally a Dodgers draft pick in the 5th round of 2015 draft out of Lakewood High School in Southern California. He committed to Cal State Fullerton, but passed up that opportunity and swings and misses here. It's a full count.
Just 20 years old, unbelievably young. Started his career at 17. Obviously, the Major League Draft, you're eligible after high school. junior college any year, go to a 4-year school, not until your 3rd year, until you're 21. But some guys graduating high school at a young age. Facing professional pitching at 17, no easy task.
Well, he'll draw the walk here. So the potential tying runs are on base in the 8th inning. Nice job. And Hunter Cole will get his second at bat. Cole had the base hit in the 6th inning in his first AB and then was caught stealing to end the inning. Cole's 25 years old now. And he was a part of that Sam Dyson deal to the Giants. He was the player to be named later. Peralta finds the corner. So Peralta, look, this has not been a real clean inning for him again. We're talking about a guy who is pretty experienced. His years in the National League with Milwaukee, and I know that Kansas City hoping that he would be a pretty solid contributor in their bullpen. And it's not to say that a couple of bad outings in spring training will mean anything once they get to the regular season, but you do get to that point. So we're heading into the last week of games in Arizona. You know, you'd like to see guys maybe start to tighten things up just a little bit.
Yeah, without a doubt. For experienced guys that have been around, that have some big league time, there's certain things that you look for. It's not just necessarily the results, but if you're coming off a year where you didn't have great results, then spring training starts to matter just a little bit more. And if you feel confident that a guy was going to go north with you, you certainly want to make sure you're seeing some things, even if the overall numbers aren't good. Some things that you want to see these last 10 or so days going in, some swing and miss, some good bite on the breaking ball, recovering well, all those things that you kind of dig in on and look for reasons beyond the numbers to give you the confidence to take a guy with you to start the season.
One to Cole. Runner goes from first, no throw offered. And it is a 2-1 count. That is a stolen base for Brendan Davis.
Pretty interesting there because that was, of course, the tying run, and to allow him to get in a scoring position, it didn't seem like he really delayed his steal very much, but nobody covered the bag.
Hitters count here. Peralta ready. And they'll step off. Mound visits or no mound visits.
You always have to step off.
Peralta still managed to catch his breath between pitches.
So you want to speed the game up, huh? Not on my watch.
3-1. I was thinking about that mound visit thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you were looking at it from the perspective of a pitcher or just competitively how it may affect teams and your concerns that way. I look at it immediately. My thought is, well, how can you cheat it?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So you throw the ball back to the pitcher, but he just muffs it and lets it roll over to first, walks over there to first to pick it up, have a little chat with the first baseman, and then walks back.
But the problem is, you don't know which infielder wanted to talk to you, right?
So you tell the first baseman, throw it back to me when I get over there and make it go over to short. Bases loaded after the walk to Hunter Cole. So boy, now things really getting interesting here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Peralta creating himself a real mess. So Preston back now on the chance with the bases loaded. This is his first at bat of the night. Beck has been that guy a little bit like Austin Bibbins Dirks last year. A guy over from the minor league side who we have seen with some regularity this spring. From Dallas, 27 years old, guy who went to UT Arlington. A lot of local ties. And there's one of your visits to the mound, and plate umpire acknowledging as such. But Preston has been involved quite a bit lately. In fact, it's the 9th game in which he has appeared, hitting .400 this spring with a home run. A little high, 2-0.
Now, this is one of those situations you brought up the pace of Peralta right now and how things seem to have slowed down a little bit, and you get in that spot where you got your back against the wall, run is scored, you got a couple of guys in scoring position, you start slowing your pace down, and it seems like it's worked against him. And all of a sudden now it's back-to-back walks. He's having a hard time throwing strikes, and you won't find a pitching coach in baseball that doesn't believe that he needs to be picking up the pace to get him a little bit more in the zone, but he has really slowed himself down, and I think it's probably had the opposite effect. You think about slow yourself down, take a little breath, relax, get back in the zone, but it's been the opposite. I think him slowing himself down has really got him out of a rhythm right here, and he's struggling to find the zone.
3-0. And Beck will take ball 4. That walks in a big run. And the inning continues. 3 consecutive walks, and Peralta's a bit of a mess right now.
3 consecutive 2-out walks, right? I mean, you think about just trying to make a pitch and let somebody hit it at someone. This is certainly not what Ned Yost wanted to see, and not the plan that he had in spring training as far as having to make a mid-inning pitching change.
Base is still loaded, and Lovelady coming on for the Royals in a 1-run game.
Back trailing the Royals by a score of 5-4 with the bases juiced. And you know what? It doesn't seem to matter where the Texas Rangers are. They like to give back to the community in which they are present. And in this case, it is right here in Surprise, Arizona, as last night they held a fantasy camp for physically challenged kids in this area. Guys like Ryan Rua, Drew Robinson, Joey Gallo, all a part of it and happy to do so. They said so much of this game is about what they can do to give back, especially in Surprise, where they're not here very often. We see it in Arlington all the time, but really, guys, they do it not just during the season, but also in spring training, and also spreading a lot of love in the community in the off-season as well.
That is awesome. Obviously, a really good time last night. Brett Nicholas, by the way, came in to catch and getting his first at bat, and he is doing so against Richard Lovelady. St. Patrick's Day, luck to be a Lovelady tonight, I guess. And spoiled off to the left side out of play.
He's got some really nice numbers through his first 2 years in professional baseball. Came out of Kennesaw State. You see what he did a year ago in his 42 games. 77 strikeouts to 17 walks to go with that ERA. Played in high A ball, Wilmington, Double A, Northwest Arkansas. Lefties that throw strikes and can generate swings and misses. There is a spot for you in this game, that's for sure. 10th round pick at Kennesaw State a couple of years ago.
Well, he's ahead of Nicholas here, 1-2. Brett Nicholas back in camp. He's designated for assignment at, about a little over a week ago, maybe. Heard waivers. And back in camp with the Rangers, and that's really good news. I think there's a pretty high probability he is contributing to the big league club at some point this year. The 1-2 pitch. Chopper up the middle. And that will do it. A little force out at second. And Lovelady gets the Royals out of the jam. We go to the 9th inning. It's a 1-run game. For celebration out there on the berm. You think he knows the score?
I don't think he cares. Nope. He's worried about the tunes right now and getting locked in.
That's awesome. Hey, by the way, other news and events in Major League Baseball. We have a new Hall of Fame class this summer. Chipper Jones with better than 97% of the vote. Great to see Vladimir Guerrero getting his due. Jim Thome, Trevor Hoffman. That is a really nice class of Hall of Famers for this summer.
Yeah, tremendous group of players right there, and it'll be another great summer up in Cooperstown, New York. We talked about Surprise, Arizona being on your bucket list as a Ranger fan. Cooperstown, got to do that one as well. And it'll be a good class going in, and no doubters there, no controversy surrounding any of those guys. They all belong.
Chris Martin in the game here in the 9th inning. The tall right-hander, 6'8", 225 pounds. Formerly of Arlington High School, graduate at Arlington High School back in 2004. He was a Class 5A All-Star team member of the state of Texas his senior year. Here's his numbers last year in Japan. And puts a little giddy up on that fastball right there, 94 miles per hour.
Playing for the Nippon Ham Fighters, a teammate of Shohei Ohtani's.
Big swing and miss. 1-1. The Rangers have had some success in recent years with guys who have played in Japan, pitched in Japan, and come back stateside and performed very well once again back in Major League Baseball. Tony Barnett comes to mind. Colby Lewis comes to mind. A 2-1 count now.
You know, the Rangers, of course, have a working relationship with the Nippon Ham Fighters. And an exchange of information where share some scouting reports, kind of working both ways for the fighters, when they're looking for American players to bring over, they can tap into the Rangers' resources to do that, and of course vice versa. I see more and more of that happening in both Korea and Japan, where teams are trying to get those working relationships, and it's nothing but good for the game.
2-2. Shanked foul. Big swing and a miss. Chris Martin strikes him out. 1 away here in the 9th inning.
Second baseman, number 68, Roberto Martine.
You see here, good hard fastball, 95 miles an hour up in the zone. Throws hard, no chance for Martin in the Martin versus Martin matchup. Still spring training.
Martin right in there with strike 1. Roberto Arteaga. Swing and a miss, strike 2. So Chris Martin getting some work here tonight. About his first runs of the spring on Thursday against Milwaukee. He surrendered a game-tying 3-run homer, 2 outs in the 9th inning of that one. Really had been outstanding in his first handful of appearances. And he's a guy who could be a real intriguing addition. We start talking about adding some depth to the bullpen. If he can bring a little bit of what we have seen this spring to the big league club during the regular season, that would be a very nice addition. 1-2 pitch, and this one out towards center field and drops in, base hit. Arteaga aboard with 1 out here in the 9th inning.
That's a good at bat against a 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Chris Martin. That's some good stuff, though. You can see, first of all, why he had the success that he had in Japan. You don't see velocities like that too often. You see them trying to go up in the zone, and the ball ends up being down in the zone, and of course makes a big difference. When you're using that straight 4-seam fastball, the idea of elevating, very important. We talked about that a lot last year with Matt Bush. Chris Martin's got the kind of fastball. You think about trying to get ahead if you have some movement, whatever it may be, and that ball coming in on an angle can be difficult to hit. But more often than not, for high velocity guys, most hitters will tell you they'd rather see that ball middle to down in the zone. I don't mean down at the knees out of the corner. That's a tough pitch to hit regardless. They got a better chance of getting to it down over the plate than they do up in the zone.
0-2 the count. Flores comes up empty. Flores, his first at bat tonight. Royals with a 1-run lead. I mentioned it earlier, but they're on a little winning streak at the moment. And Flores puts that one into the seats. When we look at the bullpen makeup, you look at the starting rotation makeup and all the new faces and new bodies in camp this year for the Rangers, it looks to me like a unique challenge for John Daniels and company to figure out how to put everybody in place, let's say around opening day, so that you have flexibility as the season wears on. That one threw into right field for a base hit. Trying for third, Arteaga, and he is gunned down. A beautiful one-hop strike to third base. Hunter Cole, who came in about the middle of the game with the first chance to show off the arm defensively.
Yeah, some frustration here for Chris Martin on the pitch. It was a good pitch and just kind of slapped into right field, but redemption here on a perfect throw. One hopper. Very well executed. So here from Hunter Cole, put something behind that one and put it right on the bag. Great throw. I see the frustration there. Now, I think for Martin, maybe upset they left the hit, but the ball wasn't hit very well. It was a pretty well located pitch. It just kind of got slapped to right field. I don't think you beat yourself up too much over that.
Picks up the second out of the inning. A man at first base. And floats one in there for a strike. Jumps ahead 0-2. So I'll just say it. I don't know who this is.
Way. Be direct. Oh, who's hitting right now? Oh, I got the list over here. Would you like to see it?
Oh, that's Moon.
That's number 99, Logan Moon. Came over from minor league camp today. Double minor.
Oh, there he is.
I mean, he's got his last name on his jersey. So.
He does, right? That's what right as I said that, I said, well, I guess I could just try the binoculars. He's in a hole 0-2.
Spent some time at AAA last year and in AA. Overall, 268 batting average, 8 home runs. 309 on base.
Hard hit ground ball. That one into left field. Cold throw to third base a moment ago comes up big right there because no run scores. First and second base with 2 out now. Another visit, so this will be chalked up. So you can see Corey Blazer going into his book, plate umpire, and then he'll turn around, and our understanding is they will signal these visits to the press box. Well, no, there we go. It's a visit.
And 2, and he lets Jeff Bannister know that was number 2. What do you think? Is that what that was?
Yep.
So now for us, we don't necessarily. You think you'll find yourself counting the visits along, or are you going to completely rely on?
They're going to be on the scoreboard.
Oh, they're going to be on the scoreboard.
Yep. There will be a designated area on every scoreboard where both teams' visits will be tracked, just like timeouts or something in football. In fact, the question was asked during the call with Major League Baseball.
By the way, is it easy to tell which one of us was on the call and which one wasn't?
Question was asked, like, well, could you just add it to the to the line up there? 5 runs, 12 hits, 1 error, 4 visits. 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 2 visits.
Nobody wants to see that. Because when a game ends, you don't know how many timeouts are left.
Nor do you care.
No. When you think about the dots that are under, I think they do a pretty good job of that in basketball, right? With 5 or whatever.
So I think maybe teams should go into a bonus situation the last 3 innings, depending on the number of visits, and then it only takes 2 strikes to retire a hitter.
Yeah, now you're talking.
You guys in the bonus, you've only used 1 of your visits. It only takes 2 strikes to punch a guy.
I mean, you talk about pace of play.
That'll do it.
That will absolutely. 3 balls is a walk, 2 strikes, and you're out.
Ryan O'Hearn right now has delivered the difference in this game. His home run in the 8th inning, that solo home run right now. What accounted for Kansas City's 5th run. 1-2 pitch. And swing. And this is strike 3. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Chris Martin. Last of the 9th. The Rangers comeback awaits. Looking ahead, regular season baseball not that far off. On the 29th, the day game, the opener against the Houston Astros, the first of a 4-game series. In fact, 7 of the first 17 games this year for the Rangers against their in-state rivals. And Oakland for 4, and then back home for a 2-team homestand. So look at the first 3 weeks there. A lot of Houston, a lot of in-division play. So here we go now. New pitcher, Josh Staumont, in there for Kansas City. And looks like he's got a pretty good arm, 96 miles per hour with that first fastball. Bottom of the order for the Rangers. Marte swings and lifts this one very high in the air. Not going to carry, though. 1 away.
Left fielder, 75, Scott Hyman.
Rough year for him last year. Overall, the ERA 5.56. Was up over 6 in AAA, 4.5 in AA. 16 home runs allowed in 124 innings, but predominantly a starter last year in the minor leagues. Good strikeout rate, 10 per 9. Walk rate, however, 7 walks per 9 last year.
Ooh, whoa. That's brutal. Heineman takes one high for a ball. Now, there's plenty of potential you can see there, obviously, with the velocity that he generates, and he's only 24 years old. There's 1-0 to Heineman.
Interesting, too, and this is not an uncommon story, but not drafted out of high school, and then ultimately gets taken in the 2nd round out of Azusa Pacific University.
How's that happen? The guys don't even get drafted, and then just shortly thereafter end up a 2nd round pick.
I mean, I wasn't drafted out of high school. I told you that story. I couldn't break 80 miles an hour in high school. And 3 years later, I'm in the mid-90s. 83 and get taken high in the 1st round. But it's a developmental sport. It's different than other sports. I mean, there are certain basketball players, I think it's to make those kind of leaps, to not be on the radar, not be going to a major program out of high school and then go to, I mean, it happens, but I think in baseball it's such a developmental sport because even when you get drafted, you're not necessarily expected to go be impacted at the big league. It just doesn't work that way. Where I think in the NFL, to some degree in the NBA, you are pretty quickly. But I think it's just one of those things. And it's changed a little bit more and more because kids get started earlier now. What they're doing at the amateur levels and the training that they're doing, I think makes these kinds of stories a little bit more rare, but it's still a possibility.
Well, a tying run now on base for the Rangers. A pretty aggressive lead over there as well for Heineman. Altman had a hit in the 8th inning. Started that 2-run rally. It was one of just 2 hits in the inning and in the rally. The rest of it was all walks. The Rangers are going to pull it off here tonight. Looks like this rally may lean on the walk as well as a strike called. Count 0-1 on Altman. That hit last inning was the first of the spring for Altman. It's just the 2nd game in which he has appeared. One and one.
Last time I remember being in spring training for St. Patrick's Day when they give you they had the snapback hats.
Snapbacks?
Yeah, those are big league there. They're fitted. That was a one-day hat. They weren't going to make the investment in the fitted hat for one day.
Were you with the Reds at the time? Was this like a March shot thing?
I think it was the Braves actually, 2004. Still have that hat laying around somewhere, but it was a snapback.
Did you see Adrian Beltre's suspenders today?
I did not.
So he obviously, we mentioned this earlier, but Beltre and Elvis Andrus, despite it being a split squad day, both got the day off. Another visit to the mound here, charge to the Royals. But so the guys are just, those guys just doing their work on the backfields today. And Beltre was out there, no belt, and his baseball pants pulled way up over the belly button. We're at lower rib, and some green suspenders on.
Nice
to go with the green hat.
Was he out there taking ground balls with that look?
Yep, he sure was. High pop up on the infield. And they're 2 away.
The Myron Noodleman look?
Yes, it was. That's very good. The Myron Noodleman look. Very good. There's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Of Myron Noodleman, the longtime entertainer who traveled around in the summer to minor league park. Well,
passed away this last November.
Was it last November?
Yeah, November 1st of 2017. For anybody that spent any amount of time in the minor leagues, they are very familiar with the act of Myron Noodleman, which is a fantastic name.
Yeah.
And not his real name.
Delano DeShields, the DH tonight. He scored 2 of the Rangers' 4 runs, doubled his last time up. And takes a fastball for a strike.
Wikipedia has his occupation listed in one that would work for you too.
I don't know.
Any idea what it says?
No.
Clown.
Hashtag bully.
Myron Noodleman, clown.
1-1 the count. Stamont into that glove. He's been sort of effectively wild here in this 9th inning. Just the 1 walk. Goes 2-1 now on DeShields, who has been patient. He walked earlier in the game. Was back in the 4th inning. Has 6 walks this spring.
He one of those at bats. I mean, 5 plate appearances tonight in that DH role. A lot of times you'd think he would have came out earlier, but hanging in there and getting 1 more here in the 9th.
Getting away from Stamont a little bit there. 3-1. I've never seen you said his walks per 9 over 7 last year. I don't really recall seeing a number that large for that stat for a guy. That seems unusually high.
It was. I tell you what, though, as you see him walk another one. Last year, I'm going to take a peek. I'm trying to get this off the top of my head, but I think Dylan Betances was not that far off. Dylan Betances had a rough year last year when it came to his walk rate. I want to say it was like 6.8. Let me take a look here, see if I got that right. Hopefully I didn't make that up. 6.6 last year.
Wow.
For Dylan Betances, which was a problem. Obviously, dominant reliever and has been. And the ERA was still really good, and the strikeouts per 9 were over 15 for him. But that was an issue coming in. And the way the year fit. Remember, there was a couple of spots in the postseason where they realized they couldn't trust him, had to get him out of there. But yeah, 7 is a huge number, and to even see 6, and 2 guys had it last year. Adam Ottavino also had a walk rate up over 6 last year. League average just over 3. Three and a half for relievers last year. 3.1 for starting pitchers. I like using that stat better. A lot of times you hear something that is not as common as has been in the past, as opposed to looking at the ratio. Right, that was a big one. When I first broke in, that was more what you wanted to be 2 to 1. Really good guys could be 3 to 1. 3 walks, or 3 strikeouts to 1 walk. But that doesn't really tell you the story of who that pitcher is. And so strikeout rates, walk rates, I think do a much better job of that. And it's becoming more and more common language, certainly for people that cover the game, play the game. But I think for the fans, that's kind of the last step of them hearing it more and more and really getting an idea of what it means, as opposed to saying, well, he's got a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio.
Cardona waits on a 1-1 pitch. And a breaking ball, strike 2.
It's a smart play right there. You're struggling with the fastball. You can see the command, the inconsistency of the release point. Not uncommon to ask one of your pitchers to go to the off speed, try to find it, get a little bit more consistency, and a lot of time for guys that struggle with command. And they have that good fastball. Flipping more breaking balls in there can usually get you back on track.
2 runners out there. Stammet with a long set and the 1-2 pitch. Cardona right down that first baseline foul. Some of the fans not picking up that subtlety, think the game's over, but no, there will be another pitch. We saw Ramon De Jesus over at third earlier tonight. He had started the game at second base, now over at first, and he was right on top of it. Really not even that close, was it?
Nope, it was a good call. You can see it right there.
We'll look back there at second base. Heineman at second, the Shields at first. Cardona trying to find an alley out there in the outfield somewhere. Here it comes. Ooh, check swing. Keeps the at bat going.
So have a little fun with the walk rate. Highest walk rate, the minimum of 100 innings pitched since 1900.
Okay, I like this.
Dick Welk of the Senators. 10.2 walks per 9.
How does that even work?
I don't know. 1949.
And he pitched, did you say 100
Minimum
innings?
100. He went 5-17 that year. He actually threw 152 innings.
Oh,
made 22 starts, threw 22 games out of the bullpen.
That would have been agonizing to watch.
He slowed it down a little bit.
2-2 the count. Ooh, broken bat, flare, left field, drops in, base hit. That should tie the game. And it does. Heineman touches home plate, and it's a 5-5 game. A little smile from Cardona. That's a good at bat. He hung in there.
He did hang in there, and it's hard to get comfortable against guys that struggle with their command, especially when they have the good fastballs, and we've seen a good fastball here. And this one actually was pretty well located, and it got in on the hands, and it broke the bat. You heard it. Just kind of some tough luck, and that's the way it goes sometimes. If you're having a hard time putting the ball where you want to, and then all of a sudden you do, and the player does just enough. Get a bat on it and hit it in the outfield, and the bat goes down a hero.
That tip to Cardona had the RBI ground out in the 8th inning. Real good at bat. Great effort here in the 9th, and now a swing and a bouncer, second base, shovel to second, and that will end the rally in the 9th inning. A 5-5 score, and Jeff Bannister signaling that's enough. I think we're good. We got our pitchers in. Let's call it a night. So thus it ends. Two teams that share the facility, they will share the win. It's a 5-5 final tonight between the Rangers and the Royals. For CJ Nitkowski and Emily Jones, I'm Dave Raymond. Thanks for joining us. Rangers Spring Training Baseball on KTXA 21 tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central against the Angels. This has been a presentation of TXA 21. Once again, our final score, Rangers and Royals even at 5.